Ready? All right. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Acting Clerk Trent, can you please call the roll, or are you calling the roll? Oh, John calling the roll, okay.
Wilcoxon. Present. Mayor Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Fellows.
Present.
Councilmember Tucson.
Present.
Councilmember Simmons.
Here.
Councilmember McLean.
Here.
Councilmember King.
Present.
All are present.
Great, we'll give folks a second to prepare, and I will know, I think we are occupancy for the space, so if people can just make sure that we keep the aisleway and the doorway clear for everyone's safety, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much. Everybody ready?
Sure.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for agenda approval.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilmember Tucson, supported by Councilmember King. Any, Mayor Pro Tem?
I'd like to suggest that we move, given the size of the audience here and the length of the public comment that we're about to see, and the 17 resolutions that are on our agenda. If we gave those only 5 minutes, that would be over an hour and a half just to read those into the record. So I'm going to suggest that we move non-time sensitive issues to the next meeting. That would be resolutions 2025-236, 237, 240, and all three are the discussion on the city manager and clerk annual review and the table discussion of the third-party investigation. We would keep item P on the agenda.
I support.
All right, so just to repeat, that is to move to the next agenda, letters J, 236, K, 237, N, 240, discussion O, and Q.
Correct.
All right. Any discussion on those changes?
I support this. Maybe with just item N, I don't imagine there's discussion with that because it's merely affirming something that we decided in January. It's not new. It's the council
Onboarding process.
But it's also not time sensitive within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Are you okay if we move it to December?
Yeah, that's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay. All right, we have a packed audience. Hello, good evening, welcome. Before we move into public comment, I'm gonna give the city manager the floor for a moment, make a statement about the Dzank House.
Yeah, if I could touch, I know a lot of you are here to speak towards that. And there is a path forward for the Dzank House. It is the way it's zoned, it doesn't allow for the arts and crafts thing. I don't imagine there'll be an issue adding that use to that zone. So that is a pathway forward to then get their certificate of occupancy and then be fully complied under city ordinance and state law. And during that time, we would suspend, as long as they're moving through the process, we would suspend enforcement and allow them to operate. If you're here to speak about Leaf, they applied for a business license today. So while they go through that process, we'll allow them to continue operations. So I just want to say that before the comment begins.
Thank you. All right. Oh, Councilmember Fellows. Councilmember Fellows.
Oh, yeah. So related to this issue, then I'm going to move to delay the cease and desist with both Dzank House and Leaf Harm Reduction until a solution to keep these service providers operational is found.
There's a motion.
Or
Council actually doesn't have that authority to get involved in enforcement. So I will just.
Pawpaws, it happened with the pawpaw. That was an enforcement issue. And we did vote an affirmative to override.
That was to create a committee to find a solution.
No,
Meet with the two to negotiate.
it was to not allow for the pawpaws to be cut down. So it was override of a staff decision.
That is legal counsel. I can't answer that, so.
I'm not aware of that particular precedent, but it's a matter of enforcement discretion. And I don't think council has that particular authority under the charter.
It's to delay a cease and desist.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm confused as to what the motion was. So you're saying we put forward a cease and desist to our city staff?
No.
No, to,
To delay the cease and desist that they have received. The
so how does
business.
what
It's-
the city manager said not functionally do that?
Well, I'm putting it into a formal resolution for council to vote yes or no on.
Well, it appears that legal counsel states that we don't have that authority in this situation.
I'm not aware of that authority being.
But okay, but what I will say is that, city manager, can you clarify the statements that you just made about the steps in the process that both businesses are taking would do this?
Yes, as they are going through the process, assuming they're going through it in a good faith way, then yes, we would allow them to operate.
So, and we weren't, this is not on the agenda, so I
Correct.
don't want us to spend a lot of time discussing this, but I believe the cease and desist was for tomorrow.
Yeah, that would, and we would hold that and allow them time to, we would want them to do it quickly, but put an application in to amend the zoning. But while they're going through that process, we will allow them, we'll suspend enforcement.
Okay, so I just wanted to hear that on the record, that that will not happen tomorrow.
That will not happen.
In good faith, that the next steps will be taken by the business to apply for the proper licenses and
Correct.
move forward.
Yep. Apply
Oh,
for the
Okay,
zoning
the
change.
Zoning change.
Yep.
Is council comfortable with that? Councilmember Fellows?
No, because this has happened before with Leaf specifically, where there was a promise to keep the business operational and that was denied later outside of the public view. So the public should know that, we should keep staff accountable to their word. And so, I think it would be stronger if we voted on this because there is precedent. We did vote to prevent the pawpaws from being cut down, which was an override of a staff decision. So this is a similar situation, but less extreme because we're just asking for a delay of a cease and desist order.
Thank you. I literally am stuck on this because we are supposed to look to you for direction. So I'm sorry.
I think the city manager has given staff a directive. And, I don't necessarily see the procedural point in codifying what the city manager is given his directive to do. This is it's a city manager, managed city under the charter. Council appoints the city manager makes the decisions. Council doesn't like the city manager's decisions. They don't have that city manager, they get a different city manager, but individual staff management decisions are a very fine line of what council can micromanage.
Okay. Councilmember McLean?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just make a couple of comments. First of all, we've heard from the city attorney that there is not clarity that we have this authority in the first place. Secondly, we have heard in a packed chamber room, the city manager state with complete clarity that as long as folks are following the process, then in effect, there is no cease and desist order. I take him at his word. I think we should take him at his word. The pawpaw issue was different because the city was planning to do something different. In this case, I believe the city manager has indicated that we're doing what I want him to do, and what I think members of council want him to do. So, if we go forward with a vote, I'm going to vote against it, but I'm doing so as a way to not violate our process, and to support the community and support the operating of the businesses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I've put forward several issues while on council that were not in the purview of this city council to ask city manager to suspend enforcement in the past, and that has been done at his discretion, not at the council's discretion. And he has followed through with those in terms of zoning enforcement for a number of different issues. And I think this basically amounts to the equivalent of fixing a ticket by city council. It's an enforcement issue that came up that is not within our purview to be able to say, you know, that enforcement should be relaxed.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
I know, so I just want to say one thing, which is that this is an example to me of what I've brought forward about how we position ourselves in our enforcement with community in partnership, and like how that changes our approach, which then changes the way that the community responds. And I think it's important because, we get reached out to based on decisions and an approach. And so I just want to name this as like, this is an example of what I mean. And I think we could do ourselves so much like benefit to just approach things a little bit differently and to understand when things should come to council as policy shifts. Like what's being asked is if our zoning policies are not allowing things that at this stage, not back in the 1990s, now that we should consider those differences. And I would like those to come to council more proactively so that we can support our staff and not have to be in opposition. I don't want that. I want us to be able to support one another as things come forward. And so I want to name that, but I also understand too where we are and how we should get started. So with the clarification from the city manager, I would withdraw my support from the motion that was put forward and let that be that.
Thank you. Councilmember
I have a
Flores?
closing comment. I do think the community should watch this issue then, because leaf harm reduction was shuttered by the planning department because of planning department's decisions. I am unhappy with city staff's handling of these zoning issues. So I don't think this is like the final say of what happens with these different service providers in the community. And it is shocking to me that when there isn't, a need being met in the community through government agencies of all levels, including the city, that when the community comes together to do service provision, that we not only do not support the service provider, but we are coming in to enact barriers to those services reaching people in the community. So I'm like wholly against the way this has been handled. I'm wholly against whatever maneuvering happens with the staff after this point to try to bar Leaf and Zach from operating. So just keep close watch on it so we actually see these businesses supported in the future.
Thank you. Okay, so with the removal of the support, again, I think, what we're hearing everyone up here say is that we do want to see this move forward and this to be rectified. And the expectation is that what was stated in here is what is going to happen. And so it's all our responsibility to keep a close eye on making sure that this happens going forward. And I think that's our job to do that. And we're naming it on the record. All right. So we will move forward. The next piece, we're going to move to public comment. Because we have more than 30 people who have signed up, we will have 2 minutes to talk to council. And so the first period is 45 minutes long. We will get through as many people as we can in that time frame. I will call names on the list. Those who are not called or who do not make it within that time span will be able to speak at the end of the meeting. If you stay, if you're in public, or if you are on Zoom, I'm sorry, in the audience on Zoom. And then our clerk will be keeping time. Okay. All right. And also, I'm sorry, I need the aisleway clear and the doorway clear as well. Thank you. Dennis Wenzel. Yes. Did you want to speak? I have your name signed up on the public comment list. Oh, okay. If you want to, you can speak if you want to speak. Um, oh, okay, thank you. Juanita House. No, it's okay. All right. All right. Right here? Juanita House. Good evening.
Good evening.
And if you could say your name and address for the record, please.
Juanita House, JUANITAHOUSE, 1064 Monroe. I am here on behalf of Heritage Park Neighborhood Association, which is Ward 1.
Mhm.
And I'm representing them with this comment. I'd like to publicly put on the record the support for Police Chief Anderson of Ypsilanti. New Heritage Park Neighborhood Association has full confidence and backs and support Chief Anderson to oversee and manage all policing order matters, law enforcement, and community involvement in the city of Ypsilanti. Police Chief Anderson is involved in the community, regularly attends New Heritage Park Neighborhood Association meetings, and provides update of current and relevant matters of law enforcement in the city of Ypsilanti and our community. There's no other policing agency that exists that operates in the community that's shown any effort to engage with the community. Let it be known that Heritage Park Neighborhood Association appreciates and stands behind Chief Anderson with full support of the membership of the members. We are the longest existing neighborhood association in Ward 1 since 2003. We are in the process of getting our logo revamped so we could send the mayor invitation to join us. But if you take our word, we'd like to formally invite you to join us. We meet on the second Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock at Park Ridge Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Simmons. I know she's, okay.
I am here in
Can you
regards.
state your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you
It's okay.
so much.
All right, it's all right.
My name is Michelle Simmons. I reside at 128 Bell Street. That's my mother resident, and I am here on behalf of her, but she's deceased as of October the 13th this year. Thank you. But I am here regarding the encampment that is 100 feet behind our house. And I am here because safety matter, because it's traffic in and out that area. And I'm like, we didn't know nothing about it. It's been going on for a year now, since November the 2024. And we have, I have reached out to multiple people to try to figure out what can we do about it. And I do understand that Ypsilanti have a homeless situation, but this one has really touched my heart because it's close to our backyard and people coming in and out. And I could show picture of people going back there. I don't know what they doing, have no idea. I know University of Michigan has some social workers going there, but my concern, they more concerned of the homeless people than the resident. No one came and say, hey guys, this is back there. This is what's going on. This is 100 feet. We got nieces and nephew. Do you want your kids playing out there with strangers? We don't know these people. And so my issue is, since it's been a year, and plus we got overgrown grass that we thought the city would take care of it. Someone said back in June that they would take care of it, and they have not. But we got ordinance that us as residents have to do. If we had let our grass grow that tall, we would.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's
We'll
okay.
follow up again.
I appreciate you. Please do because you know what? You're the one that I talked to, so I appreciate you follow back up with me, please. Thank you.
Amanda Mae Moore. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you so much. My name is Amanda May Moore. I reside.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Amanda, please. Can we please respect the speaker?
Yeah.
Thank you. Continue. Thank you.
Thank you. I reside at 402 South Huron, which is the space in question at Desank House, and that's why I'm here tonight. And I just wanted to say thank you all so much for being so quick on this matter to be sure that we don't have to cease all of our programming. Yeah, thank you, thank you. As you can see, we are more than just an illegal arts and crafts studio. Yeah, Design Caps is more than that, and it's a vital piece of the fabric of our community. And just thank you so much for acknowledging that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out on Leaf as well. And, thank you so much. I'll be in touch. I'll make sure that we're in good standing. And
Thank you.
that's all.
All right. Emmy? Good evening.
Emmy Destel, I live in Ward 1. I would like to thank the city and council for being so willing to work with the Zank House. I would like to say that I am disappointed with the communication from city staff. I do think that this was mishandled. I do echo those concerns of Councilmember Fellows. I would implore the city staff to please reevaluate how you're handling these situations, because I think there was a lot of unnecessary confusion that was caused by the way that this was handled. But I would like to say again, thank you to the mayor for her responsiveness and to the council members who responded so quickly to me whenever I reached out of concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Shital Patel? Good evening.
You. I'm Sheetal Patel from Westland, first time speaking here. I want to say also echo what everybody else is saying for Desank House. Thank you for the quick response. Very grateful to Desank House for supporting art and culture in the community, and very happy to hear that it's going to continue. For the quick response and keeping it going, and hopefully the zoning problems will be resolved quickly so it doesn't happen again. We don't want to cause trauma to amazing work that Amanda's doing, and please take care of her. Thank you.
Thank you. Megan Foldenauer? Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Megan Foldenauer, 482 Marion Street, Ward 2. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you very much to hearing that this is going to be dealt with, and I will be keeping an unbelievable hawk eye that it does, because between my shop and Amanda's shop on Huron Street is very quickly becoming an arts district for this city, you know, as I own Ypsi Art Supply. We work in partnership constantly, and the amount of programming that Amanda has instituted for Desank House already scheduled out for a year from now, I was very concerned that it was going to be put on hold, and she has created unbelievably thoughtful programming across all the arts for marginalized communities, marginalized issues, and she's extremely thoughtful in everything that she does, and we meet weekly to talk about things regarding this. I also, as a member of the DDA, we are meeting on Thursday, and I wanted to mention my support for the social district, which I know we are voting on. That Elise sent us a message to mention that, so I just wanted to put that on the record that I do support that as well. But yes, thank you guys very much for being so proactive, and I also echo Emmy that I don't think it was handled well. The letter was received a week ago with a cease and desist for tomorrow, and we literally have figure drawing tomorrow, and I'm not okay with that. I think it's ridiculous. There can be better ways. I also, as a business owner, just paid the bill for my entire building, not knowing that it was not for me. Two building inspections. The bill was sent to me. My name was misspelled to 42 North Huron. And so I paid $180 to the city, to the building department for two bills. I have talked to my landlord, of course, and he's going to reimburse me, but it was sent to me. So I just wanted to, put that out there too.
Thank you. Barton Yeri. Good evening.
Hi there, my name is Barton Yeary. I live at 502 Charles Street in East Prospect Park. I want to talk about three ordinances that relate to gardening and how they're enforced by the Code Enforcement Office. So the three ordinances, there's one that says within 10 feet of your sidewalk, everything has to be under 30 inches. There's an ordinance that says if you want native plants, you have to have a permit. And then there's a complicated one that talks about visibility if you're on a corner lot, how that works. Okay, two points. The first two are causes a problem about an issue that's just not a problem. If you walk by and somebody has tomato plants this high in their yard, within 10 feet of the sidewalk, that does not cause you a problem. But it's enforceable. It's violatable. So I've been violated, as it were, by having, goldenrod and things like that above 30 inches too close to the sidewalk, but you can walk down there. You can take your baby stroller, your dog, or whatever. It doesn't cause a problem. These things are also very arbitrarily enforced because I have a citation right now in my house, but I can walk up the sidewalk this way or that way and see other things where it's been that way forever, but they're not cited for it. Well, I don't want them to be cited for it, but it's arbitrary if they're not cited, but I am. The thing, I don't even have time to get into the thing about visibility on the corner, but I'll say that's what I am being violated with right now, and yet my yard is clear. No, there's no obstruction of traffic at my corner, but I can walk up the block this way or that way and find obstructions that actually do obstruct visibility. What I'd ask the city council to do, if possible, is to simply ask the code enforcement people to prioritize things by actual harm done. If someone has things that are growing very tall and they are somehow causing harm, okay, then write a violation for that.
Thank you.
Otherwise not. Thank you very much.
Claire Broderick. Claire Broderick. Oh, okay. Holly Andrews. Left. Okay. Sarah Nesbitt. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong.
Perfectly right.
Good evening.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Sarah Nisbet. I live at 837 West Huron Street in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm here today to make a statement of support for the Dzank House, where I've been honored to be a teacher, an exhibitor, and a member of the community. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that the order to cease operations immediately would have been a devastating blow for the future of Dzank House and the beautiful community that has sprung up around it. I want to show you a picture today. A picture's worth 1,000 words. This is from my exhibit earlier this year, where we had so many people come through the doors, draw each other, sit down, laugh, connect. Strangers left as friends, and it created such beautiful connection. And it's not unique to me. It's what happens at the Dzank House every day. And if that wasn't enough, that's happening in this community, it's also bringing new people into your community. I didn't come to Ypsi a lot before. Since the opening of Dzank House, I come here all the time to go to the workshops, to check out the exhibits. I bring friends with me. We go downtown, we shop, we spend money at the bars. So for measuring value by money, Dzank House is very valuable, but I think it is more valuable than that for the flourishing, vibrant arts community that it is bringing here and that we need more than ever in this time. So I just want to thank you for being so flexible and considerate and open to working with Dzank House tonight and enabling this kind of thing to happen for and with the community. So thank you. We'll be watching to make sure we continue to have this place that we need so desperately. Thank you.
Thank you. Hannah Sepinen. Did I say that? Okay. Good evening.
My name is Hannah Sepinen. I live at 411 Burwood Avenue in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I am one of those friends that Sarah Nisbet has brought to Ann Arbor multiple times. I've spent more time in Ypsilanti than grew up here than I ever have in my life in the last year and a half because of Dzank House. I just want to thank you so much for the way you are working with Dzank House to try and appeal the zoning so that they can continue their operations, because it is a very important arts community, and the work it is doing is I don't know how to express how important it is to me personally, but also to the community and to Ypsilanti. and the surrounding neighbor or surrounding cities and areas. So thank you.
Thank you. Mackenzie Stolzenberg.
I'm at 1484 East Clark Road. I wrote something before when I thought we were going to have to really ask you guys to think about what's going on. So I'm going to kind of not say what I was going to write, but it kind of came as a shock, I think, to all of us. But I do appreciate your support, and we, again, like other people have said, we will be watching. Desank House is extremely important to a lot of people in Ypsilanti, and as you've heard, and surrounding. You can see it, you can feel it, and you can hear it in this room. It's near, far, and wide. Personally, Amanda Mae Moore is the reason why I have put myself out there as an artist, and it's allowed me to connect with a lot of great people in this room and the surrounding communities. It provides a safe space for people to access art and experience art and create it. So thank you again. We'll be in touch, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. Madison Cantrell. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Madison Cantrell, and I live at 507 Pearl Street. I'm an Eastern Michigan University senior studying art and journalism, and I'm here today to express my support for Desank House and inform you of the positive impact that it and its programming has had on the community, me, and my career as a local queer artist. I had the opportunity to show my artwork publicly for one of the first times in Desank House Gallery's first group exhibition, Ipsy What's Your Story, in January of this year. And later in May, I started interning at Desank House, working with Desank House, and having Amanda as a creative mentor has helped me gain skills needed to continue growing as an artist even after I graduate from art school in December. My internship has focused on making submitting photographic artwork accessible for local image-based artists via online art exhibitions to help mitigate printing and framing costs, connecting the Ypsilanti photography community with monthly photo walks, and organizing a community darkroom in our space. All of this work aims to create a space for local emerging and established artists of all ages to learn about and engage in sustainable photographic practices in our city. I hope Desank House, Amanda, and I can continue the work we are doing, as we have a lot more left to accomplish, and I'd be saddened to see all of our hard work go unfinished, and I'd like to thank you for your response to all of our concern.
Thank you. Shanna Gasperson? Shayna Gasperson? Good evening.
My name is Shanna Gasperson, and I live at 403 South Huron Street, directly across the street from Desank House. I am also the programming coordinator there, and I've lived in this location for 7 years. I want to express my support for Desank's programming and presence in the neighborhood. As a neighbor, I can attest that events tend to be very quiet and unobtrusive. Almost every event is over by 8 p.m. I have never walked by and heard excess noise, and parking has remained easy on Buffalo Street. I have had the chance to speak to more of my neighbors because of our gallery and events. We serve as a small gathering place, something especially meaningful when communities are so often being torn apart. We even threw an event, the Southside Stroll, this past August that brought neighbors together in support of the arts and showed off our neighborhood in a new light to outsiders. As programming coordinator, I primarily do admin work for our free youth programs. We have a poetry and art program for elementary age students and 2 poetry and writing programs for high school students meant for underserved populations, Black boys and young men in Empower Ed, and queer youth and beyond the binary. I find great meaning in helping these programs run effectively. I feel like I am in the right place at the right time. The recent response from the city and the time frame given for the potential closure was extremely distressing. Is this not a community that people flock to for the arts? A community that is noted for being welcoming to queer people? A place where community itself is deeply valued? So I ask that all of you consider the ramifications of the potential closure. I thank you for taking this issue seriously, but please know that several people, including me, would lose their jobs or supplemental income.
People would lose a vital community resource and space to gather in celebration of local arts. Children would lose out on programming meant to empower and uplift them. Again, I thank you for taking this issue seriously.
Thank you. Tyler Samarlik? I know, I'm trying. Okay, good evening.
You've already addressed my concern with zoning laws regarding community spaces, so thank you.
Can you state your name?
Tyler Samardek, you've already addressed my concern.
Hey, thank you. Oh, all right, got it. Leslie Resnick? Good evening.
Actually from Livonia, Michigan. Last name is RZ, EZNIK. And I'm part of the knitting group that we found a home at Zank House after Cultivate shut down, which was our first home. And thank you to the City Council for taking this seriously. But I'd also like to address the fact that I believe, based on the ordinance, that it had been misclassified as a commercial arts and crafts space because it is not commercial. It is nonprofit. Municipal codes all over the country commonly identify commercial as for-profit enterprises. Zank House is a registered 401c3 IRS approved nonprofit, and therefore should not fall under any commercial codes unless it applies to commercial things regarding safety and health and things like that. So I think what was done was extremely disturbing to Amanda, to the community. We found out, I found out it was an illegal knitter. That was not on my 20. Sorry,
you have to address us.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was not. I was just showing them my T-shirt. That was not on my 2025 bingo card. So I think that, in addition, I believe it is right to readdress the zoning because I, as a craftsperson, for the last 20 years, have had a separate room within my home that contains my sewing, my knitting, all those things, and that I do occasionally sell for profit. So I would probably fall under, as a homeowner, if I lived in the district, as an arts and crafts illegal studio, which is completely ridiculous. So thank you for addressing this, both in getting it properly designated and in changing the ordinance.
Thank you. Kason Hanwick? Good evening.
Hello, I'm Kason Hunwick. I live in College Heights. First, I want to thank the City Council for not enforcing the cease and desist at Leaf or at Zank House. Art and expression, connection, gatherings, caring for the homeless are services that are desperately needed, not only in our community, but everywhere. And the orientation from the city manager and from the enforcement to punish people who are doing this work is outrageous. And in fact, they should take the opposite approach and lift these people up, support them, and invite them into collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Zitt. Good evening.
My name's Emily Zick. Address is 339 Dakota in the township. I just wanted to share how Zank House has impacted my family. My 10-year-old recently attended a 5-week class, 5-week series, classes which included poetry and other forms of art. And it can be very hard as a 10-year-old to step into a new place where you don't know anyone. But everyone was so welcoming and made Annabella feel at ease. And throughout the 5 weeks, I noticed Annabella really growing in confidence and creativity, doing more art at home and taking like big steps in class, like reading original poetry in front of others. We heard tonight about what was happening with the cease and desist order, and Annabella immediately, with no prompting, started writing a zine called "Why Zank Should Stay." And Annabella's right there in the back seat or in the back row. And I just wanted to read that for you. So, Why Zank Should Stay by Annabella. I think Zank should stay because it is an amazing, safe place with kind teachers. I went for 5 weeks for a class and it was fun and educational. And I got to read one of my poems on the radio. And an artist came and painted still lifes with us, and it was so fun. So what I'm trying to say is I hope Dzank stays open so I can go again. The end.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Annabella.
And I'm really glad to hear that there is a path forward for Dzank, and I will be following the progress closely.
Where's Annabella? We want to see the artist. Awesome. Okay, thank you. Sam Mosserum. Oh, Sam. Okay, hi. Okay, okay. Darius Smith. I
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Darius Smith. I am the owner of Ohana Lounge and Food Folks Fun podcast network in Depot Town. So I just wanted to lend my support for the social district. I understand it's not on the agenda anymore today, but the majority of us over there support it. However, do feel there is somewhat of a time-sensitive nature, just due to, like, if you guys were to approve it today, it wouldn't really go into effect probably like February, March, something along those lines. So just want to say that, and thank you.
Thank you. Jen Heimberg.
Hamburg 48198, here to support Resolution 235, sending 50K to the Shelter Association. Otherwise, you know I am here. I'm here again, asking council to add a resolution to the agenda, which would remove the restrictions that were reactionarily and punitively added to public comment just about a year ago. I have shown up here multiple times now to lay out many good reasons to the council via email and in person. And like you said, it's a full house today. And we're already chipping away. Oh, you're here to have you have something to say? Well, now you only have 2 minutes. And as I have pointed out before, this council is on record saying that they want and value community involvement. And it has been mentioned here a few times already. There's a lot of people here. And I wonder how many first timers might have come to city council, maybe got a sitter, like changed their schedule, just skipped dinner, whatever it is, maybe wrote their thoughts down and practice, ready to make their 3 minutes heard, just to be told, nah, I'm sorry, we reached tonight's limit. You might have to hang out till 10, 10, 11, midnight before you can have your 180 seconds. So again, now is not the time to be removing or restricting the people's voice. And much as how many folks are in the room are going to be keeping their eyes on the Dzank House, we're also going to be keeping our eyes on Leaf, because as evidenced here, we are what keep our safe. Thank you all.
Thank you. Alex Cardona. Alex Cardona. Oh, it's cool.
My wife.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Welcome. Amira Salman. I think.
Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Hi, excuse me for bringing my computer. Okay, my name's Amira Salman. I'm a resident at 507 Pearl Street, and I currently attend Eastern Michigan University, where I study journalism with a minor in urban studies, and I'll graduate this December. I'm here to express my personal support for Dzank House and its invaluable work in Ypsilanti that I've had the opportunity to personally experience as a poet, a photographer, and a neighbor. In light of the updates by the city manager, I want to thank you all for the work that you've been doing so far. However, I want to acknowledge the work that has led to that decision being made. What if an organization received the same cease and desist letter that Dzank did, but did not have the same community support rallying behind them? What would happen? Would they come to this post capacity meeting room, and would they just disappear? Does everyone have to get involved for you guys to make the right decision and the proper communication? As a student journalist, I understand the fundamental necessity of government transparency. Communities thrive when their leaders are held accountable. It is your responsibility, both those of you who are elected and hired, to maintain timely, effective, and factual communication with the people, organizations, and businesses that call Ypsilanti home. I implore each and every one of you to thoughtfully evaluate how decisions for and about this community are made. While I appreciate the sentiment that the city will keep the promises it makes on the condition of, quote, good faith, I urge you all to consider the lack of trust and support residents may feel toward all of you and government in general. How can members of this community trust the intentions and operations of this city government when a business is welcomed and given a green check only to receive 20 months later a cease and desist letter alleging zoning and occupancy violations? As this situation unfolds and is hopefully resolved with the best interests of its community in mind, I look forward to proactive communication and honest accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh, Lee Tucson. Anna. Good evening.
Lee Tucson, City of Ypsilanti, not hard to find. After watching council meetings on Zoom for a couple of sessions, I'm here tonight to show my full support of the police chief of the City of Ypsilanti. Never before we had a chief that could serve both sides. He serves Black folks and he serves white folks. We haven't had that in the past. It's always been a one-sided thing. And when it comes down to tools that police departments need, I think that we all should be in full support of any tool that a police department need to protect and serve us. I watch how we fuss about vehicles that the police department don't need. Unattended vehicle can become a liability for the city. If the vehicle needs an engine, if it needs brakes, what you gonna do? You're gonna get those things fixed. Those of us that ride bicycles, if the sprocket, which is one of the main components on a bicycle, if it goes bad, or the yoke on a bicycle, if it goes bad, those components has to be replaced. If they don't be replaced, you can't ride. And I'm in full support of what he's doing, and I'm satisfied with what he's doing. And my council folk, I want to expect from my council representatives, when something comes of concern for Ward 1, I want both. Oh, Lord have mercy.
No, you're just getting started.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Jason, you're on the agenda, so do you want to speak now? Because I can get, thank you. I'll get someone else on here. Gigi Bennett? Did I say, I think this says Gigi Bennett? Yeah. Okay. Levi Hubble? Good evening.
I'm Levi Hubble. I live at 702 Emmett Street. I'm a resident in Ypsi and an EMU student and a local art teacher, and I was also here in support of Design House. I'm really grateful for the turn of events that this is, that like Design can continue operating, and I will also be keeping a close eye on this. I think it is worth saying, as other people have pointed out, that it should be embarrassing to call a local community institution an illegal arts and crafts studio. The very concept of that is embarrassing. And I think you guys take your jobs very seriously. I respect that role in the community. If you are invested in the dignity of your positions and the dignity of the people that you serve, I really hope that something can be done to prevent this from happening again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Olson? Stephanie Olson. Okay.
My name is Stephanie Olson. I reside in Belleville. However, as other folks have expressed, Dezinc House brings folks to Ypsi, and it's a beautiful space. I feel very emotional about that because it offers a space for community and care and creativity that honors us as humans. And gives us space to see each other in ways that we don't, or maybe don't have opportunities to otherwise. I think a lot about the well-being of ourselves as individuals, as communities, and we know that art has a profound impact on our well-being collectively and individually. In my own space, I have a gallery wall, and it is not only something that enriches my daily life as I work, but I know that consistently as I work with folks, there's this inherent effect that art can have that words don't. There's something really beautiful about crafting that together in multiple mediums with multiple uh, communities, with multiple teachers, with multiple students. And I have such gratitude that Dzanc and other art spaces exist here in Ypsilanti. It brings me here. I spend money here. I spend time here. I'm so grateful to be a neighbor. And I really appreciate the opportunity for this to be resolved, for zoning to be appropriate. And I'm grateful for all of you for what you do for community too. So I hope that you also find ways to inspire creativity in your lives amidst the many very demanding pieces that come to your world. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mollison Espinosa. Mollison Espinosa. I think I don't want to butcher anybody's name, but okay. Erica Ventura.
Tara, and I live on 2980 International Drive in Ypsi. I've come to support the Dzanc House. I am an artist and a mother, and I've just been able to, and very depressed lately with the state of the world. So I've been able to connect with a lot of wonderful people there, and I've been able to hang my artwork there on the wall. And I gotta say, when I read about this, I can't imagine anything more absurd than hearing something like illegal arts and crafts studio. I was pretty shocked by that. It kind of made me scared because it's like when like the government starts attacking art, that's like a bad sign for everybody. So yeah, I'm here to support it, and I'm glad you guys changed your mind. They're willing to work with the Zank House because it's very important to me, and that, as you can see, it's important to a lot of others. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. All right. We actually are about 1 minute shy of the time frame. I actually hit every name on this list, though, that wanted to speak. That means that those on Zoom will have to wait until the continuation that had their hands raised. And so if you would like to hang out with us to give your public comment after the business on the agenda has been done, please feel free to do so. Want to thank everybody who came and spoke to us in the audience as well. And can you
Yes.
can you speak at the end if you were signed up on the sheet? No. Am I? Yeah. So it's who signed up before public comment started that could speak per the policy. Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight to speak up in support of Design House, to Leaf, and for the arts in general. And I do want to make a request of the supporters of Design House in particular to be in strong solidarity with Leaf, because Leaf is a harm reduction service provider, the first of its kind in Michigan, in the whole state, in Ypsilanti, and is a target of the City of Ypsi Planning Department. And so because of the kind of services it offers, the kind of communities that it services, which is predominantly poor and working class Black and brown people, it is an easier place for the city to just roll over. So I would urge you all at Dzanc to be in support of Leaf, and maybe even run some programming at Leaf, be in collaboration with each other. And so I just want to propose that as an idea. And I also just want to say to Jen Heinberg, we did bring back a resolution. It was not passed by 4 members of council, so I'm waiting for them to bring something back to make public comment accessible and democratic to the community again.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
Yes, thank you. Thank you to everyone for sharing. I did want to just mention that I just wanted to speak to Bart, who's my neighbor. And so I just wanted to name that I understand this as I am going to be coming before our Administrative Hearings Bureau on Thursday about these similar issues. And so this is another area where I think that not only when we read things, we're reading things very different. And the processes, I'm still waiting actually on the city process. And actually, our hearings bureau isn't even holding what it actually did in the previous time I came before the bureau. So this is an area where I think that, again, our policies are out of step with where our community is moving. And I actually think it is not the most efficient use of our staff time. I don't think the director of our public works department should be called to manage, flower beds. So just want to thank you for sharing and yeah.
Thank you. Councilmember King?
I just want to say we did hear from a member in the audience that talked about a tenting area. We talked about here on council a safe place to tent. I think we need to bring that discussion back. And I would also like to say I just wish the issues with the studio could have been addressed before the meeting so we would not have been in this situation.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We are going to move into our presentation from leaf harm reduction. Hello.
Hello guys.
You can lift up. You can lift it up.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's the two sides right there.
No.
There you go. You got it. I mean, it might not be that good for you, but because
We're gonna have to switch back and forth if that's the case too.
well, you can bend it down for okay. All right. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, so I'm Corin Williams, Director of Leaf Harm Reduction. As you guys know, we've been operational in Ypsi for a little under a year now. I have to start this off by doing some level setting. It was difficult for me to come here tonight due to like a visceral stress response to how you guys have chosen to engage in intervention for some of the most vulnerable folks in this county that also happen to be Black people, Black community members. I've consistently kind of given you guys data from the University of Michigan, from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services around like vast disparities in Washtenaw County. And like I've done that with the expectation that like this council would meet me in the middle to hold the county accountable for this continuing to happen. And instead, for the second time, a cease and desist has been issued. And I have not stopped working since Leaf opened. I do not sleep. And to engage this very, very vulnerable community that exists within this very, very rich county every single day is not easy, especially with like the triggers associated with that as a service provider. What makes it the most difficult is watching people continue to struggle when the resources are here to uplift them. They're just not allocated to this city for a reason. And so how long are we going to allow this to continue? I really, really would like you guys to meet us halfway. The packet, that most of these things you guys have already seen, aside from some of the inclusions from like the ACLU and the citations of ADA law. But, the letters of support you guys have seen already. They're from the prosecutor, the county prosecutor, the county health department, the state health department, the chief medical executive of the state, and Gina Dellum, the head of the U of M Nurses Association, and they're all explaining how harm reduction is different from substance use treatment. They're also all explaining, you know, some of the disparities that exist in this county, and they're also all explaining how like harm reduction is an evidence-based approach to that. And so like aside from, you know, the weight of knowing that you guys aren't meeting us halfway to support this community in Washtenaw County, in and of itself is enough to make me want to not be here anymore. Just to, again, this is just level setting, but there's folks in this city that are connected to commissions that have been appointed by people on council that have made it their mission to shut these services down because they don't like the people that are being served, and they're spreading rumors and misinformation. They're engaging community members with misinformation. They're referring to LEAF as a needle program. Absolutely 100%. We provide sterile needles for people. That is a public health service that reduces the spread of HIV and hepatitis. Why would we not do that? But we also provide tents, sleeping bags, heaters, fans, food, bathing wipes, first aid supplies, wound care supplies, socks, underwear, gloves, hats. The list goes on and on and on. So it's not a needle program. It is a community resource. It is a community benefit. And I really need you guys to engage us in a way that we can uplift this community, because that is what the people deserve. Just period. I know not everyone believes that we deserve that, but we deserve it. And so I appreciate you suspending the second cease and desist. Honestly, I would prefer if that was issued in writing, because the cease and desist was a formal document that was issued. So I would like a formal document to memorialize that it's been suspended. And I would love to talk about how we can work together to hold this county accountable for what has been going on in Ypsi and Ypsi Township, because it has to stop.
Thank you.
Hi, it's my turn. It's nice to have more than 3 minutes with you. KJ Pedri, registered Ward 3 voter. I have been working at LEAF for several months now, and so much of what I am asking of you consistently is happening at LEAF. We are making happen what we've asked for. We're making happen what we need. And I wish we would have had more of your backing and support on this the entire time, because we are showing it is possible to provide these services to our community. And we shouldn't have to do it alone. As people with lived experience around the service areas that we're providing for, we should not have to shoulder this burden. We are uniquely positioned to shoulder this burden, but it should be with the entirety of your support as a city, as institutions. We have had a little bit of a break now that the Daytime Warming Center has opened, as it provides similar services to some of what we provide, but the necessity remains that we have multiple sites in this city where people can go and get respite and get basic needs met. In social work school, they teach us to look out for duplication of services, and one of the most immediate things I learned when I began to work is that duplication is necessary, because when someone burns a bridge with one service provider or organization, they have to have somewhere else to go. And we will lose that in the spring when the Daytime Warming Center ceases to operate. And we will again be the only people providing daytime respite for the unhoused and those who simply need a safe place to be for whatever reason throughout the day. It is very hard to prioritize the procedural things that are important to this body amidst constant crises. And we are exposed to constant crises. There are daily medical emergencies that we do our best to consult and deal with from within our scope, but which truly require more comprehensive medical care than the people we see are at all able to access. And when faced with things like that, getting the paperwork done becomes secondary. You have life or death issues at stake in front of your face every day. Every day you are faced with people who might die without you. And to say, I'm sorry, I can't deal with that right now, I really have to get this in, is incredibly difficult. And I would like some grace and some compassion and some assistance, some collaboration on getting these things done. I know that various people within the city feel that they have thoroughly explained the ins and outs, have presented all the options, have given a comprehensive rundown. And let me tell you, that is not at all the truth, because I have cornered Joe in the preschool parking lot to say, I don't understand, please fill me in, please tell me some details about what is going on here. And I have spent today going over zoning and the master plan to try to get a better idea. And at the end of the day, while I understand the importance of all of these intricacies, we need to figure out how to come to terms with the realities of our current day-to-day needs, economically, socially, environmentally, and figure out how to make that work within the city, both for us and for Zank House. I am happy to meet with you individually at any point to tell you more about what we do. I think you have a pretty good idea. I really appreciate your time, and I really hope that you will partner with us, as so many in our community have. We have so much support from so many of our fellow grassroots institutions who know the work we're doing is lightening their load, is increasing the quality of life for the people that we all communally serve. And I hope that you all will come to that table too. You know me, I have shown up in this space time and time again. I have told you what we need, and we are making it happen for ourselves. So please support us in that.
And as KJ was talking, I realized that, again, the business occupancy application is something that has been a consistent issue for us. And what makes that the most surprising is, something that I believe council is probably not even aware of, and that is that our first application that we submitted was accepted without issue in a matter of 24 hours. And at that time, the city wasn't doing any inspections. And so we just received an email that said, this email will serve as your occupancy certificate. Your application has been accepted. So it wasn't until we didn't get the space that Commissioner Monroe had us fill out the application for, and then told us that we were going to be able to lease, and then just never called me back and didn't lease me the space. We ended up moving into 124 Pearl, at which point there was a lot of issues with the DDA and the services that were being offered at Leaf. And so when we reapplied, it was denied. Well, not really denied, but it was held in limbo until we were pushed out of the space. And now we're at 211, which again, I have submitted finally another new business application. The reason I didn't submit it before was not because I didn't know that I had to. And it was also not because I wasn't willing to pay the city another $90 for a third application. It was because the Planning Commission was supposed to take up this definitional issue with harm reduction, and then there was no quorum. And so they never addressed it. And it would be entirely capricious for me to fill out yet another application without this definition being added to the ordinance. But I had to do that today anyway, so that I could come and talk to you guys and say, hey, I took this step for a third time. Can you please meet me in the middle? So I have done my due diligence. The city staff has consistently flip-flopped on, initially they said that the issue was that we wanted to run a drug checking program and that the definition that fit best for that was drug testing, which was an illegal use, even though we were around the corner from a drug testing facility with a sign in the window that said drug testing. And so we moved. And I actually agreed. I agreed at that point to say, hey, I'll take the FTIR machine to my house so that we can stay on Pearl Street. I will, yeah. So we moved to 211, and now it's literally, now you've switched back to say, oh, you're offering substance use treatment. So I again, please talk to your staff. Please talk to your staff.
Okay. Thank you. Are you all done? You ready for us to talk?
Please.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for coming. I just want to acknowledge that you shared that it was hard to come in here, and I know that it's not easy for a lot of folks to come in and talk to us, especially when they've been through things in this space. Sometimes it's hard for me to come in here after experiences that I've had. And so I appreciate you coming to give us the presentation and the update on where you all are, you and KJ. I think, I'll start by saying that you've heard that we are in support of moving this forward and figuring out, what the next steps are and the cease and desist not to move forward, and to staying on top of staff to make sure that the mechanisms that are supposed to come back to us for the zoning come back to us. And that is a commitment that I can make, that we're going to stay on top of it and make sure it happens so you don't have to keep doing the same things over and over again. And get set up for a letdown, because I can appreciate how difficult that has been. I took a lot of different notes, so I will have some questions, and KJ, we talk often, so we can chat. And I'm gonna open the floor for council to ask questions or make comment at this time. Councilmember Fellows?
I just thank you for both talking about what you've been going through. I think you communicated your situation within the city structures and apparatus very well. I feel it's very clear, and I agree there needs to be some reciprocity from the city to the goodwill you've extended and taking a leap and saying we're going to follow your bureaucratic processes with the hope that we will actually be able to be in partnership together. So I am asking city staff to exhibit reciprocity to LEAF and the vital services that it provides. Aside from that, I do have a question of like, if there is specific ways outside of this business license and the harm reduction definition, which we're working on, in which the city can support specifically LEAF or the type of work that is being done at LEAF.
Absolutely. So the state has agreed to contract syringe litter pickup. So if Leaf could be a site in the city where folks bring their syringe litter, we could set up sharps containers throughout the city that could then be collected, brought to Leaf, and the state would actually pay to safely dispose of all of the city's syringe litter, because Leaf is a state contracted harm reduction agency. Yeah, I think that would, work to increase the community benefit. And I think, some of the fears of folks in the neighborhood around Leaf is that we pass out syringes. And I think they don't necessarily understand that folks who use drugs are going to use drugs, whether they have a sterile syringe or a dirty one. And so passing out sterile syringes literally is just stopping the spread of infectious disease.
What would the city need to do that? Just so
I think like an MOU with Leaf Harm Reduction as like a harm reduction agency within the city would then probably cover Leaf to place sharps containers on city property and then contract with the state to come and pick those up and safely dispose of the biohazard.
You all set? Anything else that could be supportive?
Well, so, we are surely, we do have a state budget. However, fiscal support is always helpful. Any money that comes into Leaf goes directly into this community. That is why we have worked so hard to gain financial support from the state and our other funders, is because we believe the community deserves resources. So if the city at any point wants to help with that, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons? Yes, just right quick, one to the sharps containers. And I'm bringing this up because I know that we've had a conversation with Director Wessler about this in the past. And so I'm just trying to remember where we are. I think at that point, it seemed like that was something that we could do that we had some, or were we trying to get some different sharps containers?
So we have sharps containers on our litter pickup vehicle for my people to use and deposit needles into.
Generally, how it works is if there are, sharps containers throughout the city, then instead of throwing a spent needle on the floor, folks would put it in the sharps container and then those would be emptied and then your crew wouldn't have to pick up syringe litter.
So then I guess a question I have then is whether, or like what would be the process for determining the best places for them? Because it seems that location, right? Like that's pretty much would be really important for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're not expensive to purchase. And so we could, I think the best way to figure out what ideal placement is just to put out kind of as many as we can. And then the ones that aren't being used, we can eventually pull. And the ones that are being used will kind of stay in circulation.
So then I guess a question for our city manager is like, what would that look like, or how would we go through the process to figure out, what this would look like in partnership with Leaf and with the state?
So we probably work with Leaf, our Department of Public Works, and our fire department to determine good locations for them and work out a schedule for pickup, just so we know when the state's going to be here. But there's probably a few locations that we could identify pretty quickly.
Okay, so thank you. So I think that seems like something that could set up. Will you reach out to Corn and like to set up that conversation? Thank you. And then, oh, I think it was also an important point, especially as we're going through all these things to name, like you were talking about the duplication of services and actually how, and I've been hearing that, like as more services have come on, how that has actually helped to provide relief both to programs that have been working so hard over all this time, when there has been less resource, like to hold everyone, but then also that it also provides choice for people too. When there's multiple options, then people don't have to only be in one place. They actually can be in different places, and different kinds of things can happen in the different community spaces.
Yeah, it's more humanizing. I think, we kind of take for granted that we have agency and transportation and are welcome in most places because we can pay to be there. And that's the expectation kind of in our culture. And for a lot of the folks that utilize Leaf services, that is just not their reality. And so the idea that having like multiple places where folks can spend time in a more dignified way, being considered duplicative, I think is silly. I think what's duplicative is the amount of bars that we have in the city. and the amount of liquor stores that we have in the city, and the fact that we don't have any alcohol use treatment. Like that's let's please turn our attention to what harms are actually being incurred by our most vulnerable, and then try to reduce those.
And then I think this might be the last question, but when you are saying like potential fiscal support, what does that look like? I'm in terms of, what would be helpful given what you expect the scope of the need to be for this winter?
I would have to put together like maybe a budget that I could send to you guys. I think if we want to have a real conversation about what operational costs look like, yeah, that would be a better conversation had on paper. But as KJ pointed out, since the freight house has opened up, we have experienced some relief. But before that, we were averaging about 75 requests for service a day, if you're including food, respite, hygiene support. And we're open 7 days a week, and have been.
Thanks. That's all I have for now.
Further comments or questions from council? Councilmember McLean?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for your presentation. I have 3 questions, I think. Could you start with just talking about the full range of services? You've talked about several of them, but systematically, I'd love to know exactly everything that you're doing now, and are there services that you'd like to provide that you think there's a need for that you're not able to at this point?
I mean, to give you kind of like an exhaustive list of services that we've offered, I don't think any of you guys want to stay here for that long, but
Broad categories, perhaps.
yeah, like a summary is kind of what we've been saying, right? Is that a harm reduction agency is set up to distribute naloxone, to teach people how to reverse overdoses, to provide, supplies that support public health. And then we also pass out immunoassay drug testing strips. So those are binary drug checking strips for like fentanyl and xylazine. There's some kind of more complex adulterants in the opioid supply in Washtenaw County right now. And so we've started also passing out strips for like medetomidine, nitazines, and carfentanil. We offer respite support, which is, folks can come in and take a seat. A lot of the issues that are brought up around the unhoused community in Ypsilanti is that they sit in front of people's businesses, and people feel like that deters business. And then people end up going to jail. And then the folks that are going to jail need medical services. And then the sheriff tells the county that she needs more money for medical services in the jail because people are sitting in front of Ypsilanti business owners' stores. And so like that can't continue. So if people have a place that they can sit inside, then they're not getting arrested for sitting in front of people's stores. So that is another service that we offer. And then hygiene support, food support, and then like weather resiliency support, just because a lot of folks are sleeping outside because we don't have a shelter. Which, if you guys could help us convince the county to purchase the building that we're in, the owner has expressed an interest in selling it to us for a very reasonable price. And it would be an ideal location for a permanent shelter in the city of Ypsilanti, which is definitely a need in Washtenaw County. We don't offer shelter services right now, unfortunately, but yeah, if you guys can put together some sort of executive order that says people can overnight at Leaf because it's freezing outside, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor. What are you seeing overall with regard to need, especially, and how is that changing? Increased needs?
Yeah, there's
Better, or is it changing?
no, it's getting worse. Councilmember McLean is getting significantly worse. Yeah, I think that's just kind of the economic and political climate right now. So yeah, things are getting more dire. There are more people in this county that need services, and it would be great if we could offer those services without political pressure in the city of Ypsilanti.
My last question is, how do you support those who wish to seek treatment?
I sit with them on the phone and call Access CMH, and hopefully when they make it through the weeks that it takes to get a bed, they're still willing to go, and then we send them off to treatment. Um, uh, I think, again, folks who believe that harm reduction is directly opposed to abstinence are kind of missing the bigger picture. Harm reduction is an effort to keep people alive. That is it. That is it. If someone who is using substances problematically or chaotically decides that, like, hey, it's the substance that is leading to this chaos, and maybe I should leave it alone, and I want help to do that, I'm the first person to help them do that. That is what harm reduction is about.
I appreciate also your interest in having us talk, having us visit. I'd like to take you up on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
Simmons? Yes. The other question I have, just as you were going through your list, I didn't hear you say that you were using the machine for the testing, which I know you have presented to us some time ago. And I think that there was some interest in like recognizing the power of having that resource here in our community. So I just want to hear a little bit about that and what would it like, why is that not happening? What would it look like for that to happen?
So folks in Ypsilanti do still have access to real-time drug checking. What it would look like to have that with the support of the city would be folks having access to real-time drug checking with a shelter that has an embedded HRA. Right. I think like that's what we need to see is Ypsilanti's like step up, help us in the acquisition of this building, and set up a model for the rest of the state where stabilization resources are combined with access to harm reduction interventions. And I think, you know, we do have an opportunity here to work together to pilot this in the state of Michigan. And if we don't, it's going to, you know, it's going to happen elsewhere in Michigan, and you know, we're going to keep fighting to keep services open here. But I think it would really be a waste. Like we would be really dropping the ball to not acquire this property and use it to support Ypsilanti. Well, actually, Washtenaw County's most vulnerable population. You know, we really would be dropping the ball. So, and yeah, if you guys want to come out and bring back that resolution to operationalize drug checking, so that, you know, folks who are attempting to access services can do so feeling safe, and not feeling like they're going to be criminalized or targeted, you know, that would be great too. There's been a lot of asks on behalf of this community around leaf harm reduction that I've kind of levied here. They're all on the public record, and there's been a significant amount of no's. You know, there definitely have been some yeses initially, but there's been a significant amount of no's. And so I think, yeah, if we can go back and kind of look at the things that I've asked you guys in the past to do to support this intervention, we should start engaging that.
So I want to say thank you for the presentation. And I know I took note of requesting for us to give or get support from the county to purchase the current building that you're in. But in past conversations that we've had, there was conversations surrounding temporary shelter to serve in the off times.
Yep, for the winter. Yeah, we were talking about a temporary shelter license for the winter. That was kind of like a more immediate thing, you know. And then we do currently have a year lease on the space, which is, you know, a timeline that's put on the purchase.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Fellows?
I would like to point out real quick that there's currently no overnight shelter for the weekends in Ypsi. St. Luke's is operational for Monday through Friday. But, you know, this weekend, I had someone in my car who was living outdoors. I called Delonis and said, "Where is the weekend church this year? It's usually at First Baptist, but I'm just trying to check." I was on hold for 20 minutes. And at the end of that, they came back and gave me incorrect information, telling me that St. Luke's was the church in question, the only church in question, and that they would not be open until December 9th. So there is currently a huge gap in services that still exists. And I know from experience that our overnight shelter is not as reliable as we need it to be, that there are staffing issues, that there are outages that are unexpected. And while the Shelter Association says that in those events they are willing to transport people, that requires getting in touch with Delonis via phone and encountering someone knowledgeable who knows about that service, which apparently is not happening. So there is a gap right now. There is a need right now for more temporary emergency shelter. And I would love any motion toward making that happen.
Councilmember Carlos, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate the conversation has tied in the issue of shelter in Ypsi, which is, in my view, the only way to move forward on these issues is to be in partnership with the city, with the county, with the local, service providers like LEAF, like Shelter Association, like everyone, and have a meeting together. So I have talked to the city manager about it, and I'm just going to request it again that we set up a meeting with Greg Dill, the county administrator, with the interested council members. I want to be involved in that conversation, and the community partners like LEAF, so we can get this issue moving. And I appreciate your time.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Councilmember Fellows.
Any further comments or questions? All right.
Philip, do you like going to Leaf? Are you shy? Do you have a lot of fun at Leaf? Yeah.
Well, seeing that, thank you both so much, and thank you, Little One, for being here. And we'll continue moving forward and kind of work in partnership together.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember McLean, you have ordinance 1456. So that's resolution 225.
Wait until it clears.
Yeah, just give it 1 second while folks. Huh? Oh, okay. All right. They're quiet. Go.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti. Now therefore be it resolved that ordinance number 1456, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, Division 2, Funds, Subdivision V, Budget Stabilization Fund be approved upon first reading, and I so move.
Or
Been moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Councilmember Tucson. All right. I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the ordinance having to do with Budget Stabilization Fund, sometimes referred to as the Rainy Day Fund. In my mind, this is simply a area of fundamental importance to the fiscal stability of this city or any city. And this council, with support from, I believe, everyone on the dais, has made tremendous progress already in this area. Specifically, we have, first of all, established the fund. Secondly, we put some money into the fund. We did that in two waves. At present, the finance director can confirm this, but I believe in ballpark numbers, we have about $3.4 million in the fund. Following that, we established a target level, and that target level is to have 3 months worth of revenues in the fund in the event of a downturn. That would take us to about 5.7 million. So we're not there yet. but we've made more than 50% progress toward it. The last piece, and the piece that we're here to discuss tonight, is simply to identify the conditions under which we would take money from the fund. What are these crises? What are these rainy days that would necessitate us taking money from this fund? And the goal is to be able to continue basic city services without, when we have a rainy day, when we have an economic downturn, which frequently we can't tell when it's going to come, but invariably it does come. And when that time comes, it helps any city to be able to continue their operations and not go into immediate austerity mode, cutting programs subsidies to organizations, some of which we may have talked about tonight, cutting programs that serve the most vulnerable, and cutting staff. We'd like to not have to do that if at all possible, and the rainy day fund makes that possible to some extent, depending on the severity of the downturn. And so what I have proposed here tonight is a way forward that really gives us a couple of different conditions under which we would tap into this fund. The first of those, a set of 3 specific criteria. Basically, if we were to go into recession, if we were to see our revenues from our major revenue source, property taxes, or from our overall revenue stream go down by a set percentage, a significant percentage, then those would trigger our ability to tap into the rainy day fund, so a certification that those had happened. And secondly, because it's difficult to anticipate everything that might happen, for example, we may not have foreseen the pandemic that came 5 years ago. And because of that, and recognizing that we're not going to anticipate every single circumstance under which there might be an emergency facing this council in this city, because of that, we could also take a vote and determine that, hey, we have an emergency, we have a serious situation, and if we agree on that, then that would be the second case, the second way that we might take money out of the rainy day fund. Now, there's been some discussion from earlier discussions about this topic, about the supermajority and how many members should be required to vote in case of that emergency. And the prior versions had 6 votes, 6 out of 7, which I still support. But there was some concern about that barrier is too high. I've said that the barrier should stay high, but nonetheless, given some of the concerns expressed around this table, I've changed that to 5. So it would still be a supermajority, but only a 1 more than the normal majority that is required for other spending. And I would also note that under the other 3 circumstances, the other 3 cases, if we certify that the recession or those revenue declines have taken place, then money could be taken with a simple majority of this body. So 4 votes out of the 7. So with that, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to take questions or further the discussion. But that is the purpose. And again, I would state that I think it's simply prudent fiscal policy, and it's going to someday down the road, I don't know when, is going to be something I think that we thank ourselves for having done. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So yeah, we did review this in Finance Committee, was that a month ago or so, and kind of talk through some of the things that Councilmember McLean just stated, as well as the shift from the supermajority being 5 rather than 6. And so I'm happy to entertain discussion. Is Councilmember Simmons?
Yes. I guess I have a quick question about process, how I should proceed. I have a couple of different questions or areas to look at. I don't know if we want them all at once, or do you want to go one by one?
However you prefer.
Okay. So I'll just name a couple of them. One is kind of more just like clarity of like between the section 283, 284, where there should be an or, and then like this 284 sentence kind of is confusing to me. So because I think it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be saying that another circumstance would be one that the 5 of 7 members would vote on, like that should be another piece. And then I also feel like then there's a clause missing that then says, if one of these things happen, then the stabilization funds will become accessible to go through the budget process, whatever is allocated. So I feel like we're missing kind of what the action is here. And in some of the different examples we saw, like where it names, okay, if this happens, then there is a budget process of how these monies should be spent or whatever. So that's one piece. Then there's and also when looking at the different examples, which I found helpful, so thank you for sharing those. There were, in the other examples, they don't really name a single person as the entry point to determine whether the criteria is reached, which ours is really prevalent. And I know this is something I brought forward before about naming the city finance director as kind of the person that kicks off this consideration. The other example seems that it could be kicked off by council, maybe staff might bring something. There's some things where council could bring it forward with support from staff documentation or things like that. So that's another thing where I just don't know why it's so prevalent in ours that it comes in that direction. In the also in a lot of them they talked about a replenishment plan and how that was developed across like 1 to 5 years. That was kind of repeated multiple times. So I think I'm just thinking about some of these things that I would see as being added to this. So that would be another piece. In the San Marcos example, it named a couple of areas that I think were helpful. One, it said, and it explicitly named that the funds should remain liquid. And I was, this is a question, just like how liquid are our funds? Like, and I know the last meeting we talked about all the different bank accounts where our funds are. So I don't know if it's more that in one of these accounts is where it's more liquid and that's where we would put it. But that's like a level of detail. But I thought that was good to like name that it should, how that remains easily accessible. And then they also use language in that example that said that the funds would be used for a transition period to allow the city to realign its operating costs with available resources while minimizing service impacts. And I thought that was also really important. I feel like that gets at one of my concerns or names specifically that this process kind of kicks off some other kind of considerations that would happen. Main things. Oh, the other thing is in the example that Councilmember Fellows from the email Councilmember Fellows shared, I liked there's the part that's like permissible use of funds that I felt was really clear and I feel like really speaks to the intent of what has been put forward in it by kind of clearly naming some different categories. So I think that's great. I know in some of the examples, that's not in ours. I don't have a strong feeling about it, but it does name that there could be use for unpredicted one-time expenditures, which is kind of, another area. And then the last question I have, and this is mainly for thinking about our existing, in a lot of the different examples, they name different kinds of reserves. So like it kind of was like a document that had many different things. And so I'm guessing like some of those, I was like, oh yeah, I think we have that, but it might be named differently. So I just wanted to, just for information, be clear about the different kind of reserves that we have and how they might fit or align with the different ones that were named in the examples. I think that's all. I think that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, city manager?
If I could start with your first comment, section 284. I put a reworded one at your space at your dais, but I added another thing just now. So it would read, under circumstances not otherwise permitted by this ordinance, in the event of an affirmative vote of 5 of the 7 members of Ypsilanti City Council can reallocate funds where needed.
Wait, that's something that's in here or not?
It's the one at the desk.
Yeah, and I added a little bit at the end too.
You added some more. Okay. You gonna answer?
Oh, is that supposed to be to saying that that's the action clause?
Yeah, instead of
or something.
the first one was a little bit, there were some typos in it.
Mhm.
And so, and then from what you have in front of you, I added at the end, can reallocate funds where needed.
And I think we also noticed in the one on the dais, there needs to be like an or, because the first 3 are the stipulations of what, triggers it, and then the last one is an or.
Yeah, because it seems like it's an
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
but it seems like you're trying to, it's like kind of coming together, but it seems like it should be, because I think that the vote of the 5 of the 7 members is to enact the usage of stabilization fund, but then the other things would go back to regular vote. It wouldn't, I think it's the act of
Using the
naming this to bring it forward, but then any of the other stipulate considerations that would come out of it would revert back to typical processes, right? So, yeah, so I think that would make it clearer to separate those, to say, or, if, circumstances not permitted and, taken by the affirmative vote, then something.
Yep, and that's it, can reallocate funds where needed.
If I could, yeah, I want to express uncategorical support for exactly what you just said with the or. The or belongs there. I know staff made some modifications to my original. And so what we see here is not my original words, but it was absolutely my intent to segregate the 3 from the 1. Right? And I think one of your other questions related was that there should be some kind of a preamble that says something like that funds may be used from budget stabilization fund if any of the following 3 circumstances are true. Right. And so that
following 4 circumstances, right?
Well, no. The following 3, and then there's the or
if we find something.
If we find something else, and we vote 5 out of 7.
Well, these all are ors. There's ors then between each of them. One.
If we write it to say any of the following are true, you could put an or. Yeah, you can put an or there. That's fine.
And then I guess the question around the finance director, single point of entry.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I can kind of, so I think we responded to your first. I counted five questions or 5 categories of questions. So I'm going to try to go through all of those. So first of all, the finance director issue. The finance director in our form of city government, either he or the city manager are the people of record in a position to opine on these financial situations. We had some conversations ourselves about this. I thought about whether or not it would make sense to have somebody else, but the only other somebody else is likely to be an outside third party with significant financial expertise, and therefore significant financial cost. And so we rely on our budget numbers being accurate from our finance director. We hire an auditor that tells us that our finance director is accurately portraying our financial position at any given point in time in any given year. And so, I could see changing finance director to city manager, but I would not want to put somebody from outside of the city.
I mean, I agree with that. I guess I wonder, are you suggesting that the other examples that we had use a very different model than what we have? And so that's why they don't name.
So what they have in common is that they all are trying to get at the idea of fiscal distress. and they get at it in different ways. And so they're all proxies for fiscal distress. If we're in fiscal distress, or if our revenues are down because we're in fiscal distress, then we can use these dollars. They're all different ways of saying, in my mind, the same kind of thing, getting at the same concept. And so this is just an effort to operationalize what exactly does that mean and how do we know it. I think we had this conversation perhaps the first time when I introduced this. We talked about the idea of a recession, and recession is 2 consecutive quarters. Economists will define it as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Right, the gross domestic product goes down. You can like that measure or not like the measure, but it's a measure. And so, when do you know that you're in the recession? Well, you know you're in a recession after those 2 quarters have happened, and you've got final financial data, and then you're able to say, perhaps 9 months after the recession began, that you're in a recession. Well, that's a little late. I mean, that's a challenge. And so this gives us some way to sort of certify that a little bit sooner. If we know that our projections are going to be that our revenues are going to be down, it seems to be a little bit more workable. If we wait until we're actually in a recession, we're already well into crisis, and perhaps need to spend these funds. So that I think is the second one. And that's how I would respond to the second one. A replenishment plan, I'm all for it. That sounds great. I would suggest we might, to not muddy the waters further, we would do that separately, make that a 4th step in the whole process. But if members are interested in going down that road, I'm absolutely supportive. We can talk about how we do it, when we do it, what the timeline for doing it would be. Councilmember Fellows had shared some information that got shared with everybody as well. One item I would mention that's a little bit different about that is the presence of using rainy day funds for capital expenditures. We do our proposal, the proposal I've brought forward, does not contemplate that. I wouldn't suggest that we should contemplate that, but it's one of the other areas. And it may be that something like that would fall under the category of an emergency that would trigger the 5/7 vote if suddenly we all found, because anything, that's the anything clause. That's the, we didn't anticipate it, but gosh, we're in a pickle and we may need to tap into these funds. And then I think the last question you had with regard to reserves, I mean, I know some other cities look at rainy day funds in multiple funds. Ours is a little more simple than that, and it's just focused on the general fund. We could do more. I'm not sure we're at a point right now where that would make a lot of sense, or would be very operationally feasible.
Thank you for answering all those questions. Before we take more, I'm going to pause and open the public hearing because we didn't do that. If there's any member of the audience who would like to address council on this topic, the Budget Stabilization Fund, please raise your hand. Anybody on Zoom?
Here, I thought everyone came for this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's very exciting stuff. All right. Seeing none, please close the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. That the public hearing for ordinance number 1456, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, Division 2, Funds, Subdivision 5, Budget Stabilization Fund be officially closed. I so move.
Or
Moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Councilmember Tucson. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, back to questions and further discussion. Councilmember Fellow?
Yeah, I first want to say that I appreciate that this legislation went to Finance Committee and that there was deliberation and there was some response to the concern of the 6 out of 7 majority vote of council as the that was something that was alarming to me, and I just appreciate and want to state that I value that the feedback was considered and this draft has been modified to reflect that. So it's now a affirmative vote of 2/3 majority, which is 5 of 7 votes. So, that was the main concern I have here. I, I think stylistically for me, and why I offered a alternative budget stabilization ordinance is because I hope that our ordinances are kind of clear in their intent. So like the one I offered has a purpose and intent statement saying the purpose of this ordinance is to create a budget stabilization fund to enhance the financial stability of the city of Ypsilanti. The BSF is intended to mitigate the need for severe cuts to essential public services, sharp tax increases, or the cancellation of critical capital improvement plan projects during periods of economic recession, revenue shortfalls, and unforeseen emergencies by providing a designated source of reserve funds. I'm mentioning it just because like this ordinance doesn't really say what it's for. But I can live with it if that if council doesn't care that the ordinance doesn't say what it's for. But I think it's better to name what it's for. I also, want to note that to me, the way that this is currently laid out, it sounds like the finance director can unilaterally draw down funds based on their estimation of what's going on. How this is laid out, that's what it looks like to me. So I think it needs to be more clear what the withdrawal procedure is, which is also in the alternative ordinance that I provided. It says right there, an appropriation, every single suggestion here where the finance director is cited, the finance director is merely recommending that we tap into the budget stabilization fund. It is really the affirmative vote of council that makes the action happen. This current draft does not clearly reflect that. So that is another thing I would request to be changed here. Other than that, I'm okay with it.
All right, Councilmember McLean.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Fellows. First of all, I would mention the sort of a preamble or a statement of intent was included with our original establishment of the Budget Stabilization Fund. So I think that probably came before you were here, but this is really just another piece of that. So we absolutely did do what you suggested. We just did it earlier. As far as the latitude that the city manager has, it's neither the intent nor the language here that would allow the finance director, or I'm sorry, the finance director or the city manager to expend funds. Far from it. What is actually the case is what Council Member Simmons talked about a little bit earlier. Is when we tap those funds, if we're allowed to tap them, then that simply triggers regular order and regular use of the funds the same way that we would use any other general fund funds through the normal budgetary and appropriation processes. So I don't know if the city attorney wants to opine on that and confirm that, but that's certainly the intent. And as I read it, that is also the language.
Disagree with you. It's how I would read it. I don't generally speak publicly on interpretations of language, but I don't see where council is deprived of an opportunity to make those decisions. In fact, I think they're charged with that obligation.
So the charter, if the charter only allows a supplemental appropriation through an ordinance, so by charter, the finance director nor the city manager can actually expend these funds. There need to be a resolution of council to move these funds to the general fund, and then an ordinance amendment to have a supplemental appropriation. So they're different.
Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah, I appreciate that. All said, I understand that. I understand what, our procedures have been since I've been on council. It's just, I believe ordinances should be clear. They should clearly state withdrawal procedure so that, the public, it's transparent to the public how this works. It's not questionable. And also, it happens a lot of times where there's interpretations in the future of intention of the past, and it's potentially a misinterpretation or a conservative interpretation or a liberalized interpretation. And so I think it's just best to be clear about why we're doing things in the ordinance. And so it is my suggestion. It's not a hill I'm going to die on, but I think it is better to do that. This withdrawal procedure that I have in this alternative ordinance also states, besides an affirmative vote of 2/3 of majority council, that any request for an appropriation from the Budget Stabilization Fund comes accompanied with a written report from the city manager or financial admin detailing the cause of the shortfall in emergency, so that the public can also understand why this is happening and it's drafted out. So I just think it makes it more clear.
Councilmember McLean?
Mayor and fellow council members, we talked about there being a need for a preamble at the front end of this anyway, and I read one earlier, but I'll read one that's slightly modified, and Councilmember Fellows, you can tell me whether or not this maybe gets at your concern. So what I had read earlier was that funds may be used from the Budget Stabilization Fund if any of the following three circumstances are true. I've added to that so that it reads that funds may be used from the Budget Stabilization Fund through the normal appropriations process if any of the following three circumstances are true. So it tracks us back to the way we allocate funds for anything else. Everything else applies. And then with that, plus the addition of the or between the third item 2-283 with an or before the section 2-284. So I would move that as an amendment.
It's been moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Discussion on the amendment.
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
All right, the amendment passes, so we're on the amended resolution. Or ordinance, sorry, what resolution? Further discussion? Councilmember Fellows?
When you actually read that statement, because I was thinking through and we went to the vote very fast, because you said three circumstances. So that should actually readjusted to four circumstances.
Because there's three established circumstances, and the fourth is if there's something else.
Is that clear in the preamble?
Or.
I see, you were adding an or. Okay. Mhm.
Four? You said the four? No, it's three and then an or, is what he stated. Because the last one could be, it could be a lot of things, not as specific.
Any of the three, or
Or
this
something else
this
to
fourth
choose.
one, which is different. We can't have them all in the same group because that's the only one that requires the 5/7. The other ones only require normal majority.
Normal.
I guess I kind of understand. It's just like when I like language wise, when I see something is to these three things, then I'm looking at three things. The other things, they all have an or after them. So the or, this fourth or isn't separated. So
I don't
but,
know, but I understand what you're saying.
so I'm just, I mean, I don't want to belabor. I mean, I'm just saying it's not like typical reading, that's all I'm saying. Like when I read it, I'm like, there's four options. So when you say three options and then you're like, this other one is a catch-all, but it's not a catch-all because it requires this vote. So one of the circumstances that would be true is A, B, C, or D, which is that 4 or 5 of 7 would vote. Then it would go through this process. That, yeah.
I understand it the way it's written, but I hear what you are saying, Mayor Pro Tem. Go ahead.
Yeah, the preamble addresses that, and
Right.
that's, it sets out that the process for the first three are what is usually just our typical things, right? And the fourth one doesn't fit that preamble. So separation in space, make them subsections, something like that would certainly, if you invented those and added them subsections so they were within the preamble, that would clarify that, right? So our normal process applies to these three, and then fourth one is special that it has a different process.
Is it a different process?
Yes,
I
it
feel
is.
the first three
It's
are
5
normal
out of 7.
majority, and the fourth one is the 5 out of 7. That's the only one that you need 5 out of 7.
Add that to that, then it's
Normal.
with the normal process.
I didn't, so I guess now I'm more confused because so these other three, you're saying that they do require a vote? That like, so if these, because it seems like,
Suggestion.
yeah. So anyway, so now that makes it confusing because now what I'm hearing is that, so if the finance director says that this could happen, then it would just be a majority vote. If we say we accept the finance director by normal majority vote, then that can happen.
Mhm.
So and I was thinking about when I'm thinking about the regular processes, I was talking about the processes for the expenditure or how those will be delivered. So yeah, okay. I will take it. I'll take it.
Councilman Fellows.
I think it should be named, simple majority versus the 2/3 thing. So it's clear because it is confusing. I'm just naming, I don't know. We just had an example right now. It's confusing. So I think it would be stronger if it were made clear.
Councilmember McLean.
I would oppose that change because I actually think that guts the entire process. What exists right now, absent this legislation, what exists right now is we have no parameters, no guardrails, right? And so, with a simple majority, we could decide to move money out of the rainy day fund.
I think you misunderstand me.
No, I think
Misunderstand me. I'm saying the simple majority for the first three situations, and then the fourth situation is 2/3 majority.
So to label it differently.
Yes, thank you.
So is this a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that would be between Sir McLean and you, right?
Right, I'm just asking.
I give it-
Are you asking for a
Yeah.
friendly amendment?
Want to read what you have in mind?
Sentence. If any of the following three circumstances are true by simple majority.
In here, that funds may be used from the budget stabilization fund through the normal appropriation process, which requires, we can't do that because we've got the or at the bottom, right? So it should be just simply the normal. To a supermajority, the default is existing law. Existing law is majority.
Mm-hmm.
It already exists.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is the process. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
All right, so there was no friendly amendment for that. So we are on the previously amended version of this ordinance. Further discussion. Councilmember Fellows.
I'm just gonna say, I think I'm not gonna support it tonight just because I think some of this could be improved for next time, but I don't really have it in me to workshop this all now. So I will think about it for next meeting and bring amendments.
Thank you. Any other comments or discussion? All right.
Oh, and just, I'm saying that as in, like, it's not that I don't support this in general. I
Mhm.
do. I just want certain amendments in it for next time.
Okay. All right, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows, Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
Vote carries.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Tucson, you have 227.
Indeed, I do. Resolution number 2025-227, resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti that the minutes of the October 21st, 2025 regular city council meeting be approved, and I so move.
Support.
Been moved by Councilmember Tucson, supported by Councilmember King. Anything about the minutes?
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Tucson, you have 228.
I also have that one. Resolution number 2025-228, resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti, whereas City Council approved a grant to organizations that serve the youth in the city and allotted $10,000 to distribute this year. Excuse me. And whereas 3 organizations that submitted a grant application have been chosen as recipients for the council's youth mini grants, now therefore be it resolved that the Ypsilanti City Council approves a mini grant to the following organizations in the following amounts to support programs assisting community youth through their efforts. First, we have 826 Michigan with 3,750. Then we have Washtenaw International Theater with 2,500. And we have Ypsi Youth Athletic Association with 3,750. And I so move.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilmember Tucson and supported by King Anson. All right, sorry, my internet just went down, so I can't see the packet.
What happened?
No, my
Oh, okay.
packet went away. Thank you. And so I'll hand over to our mini grant committee if you all have things you'd like to share. Thank you.
I would just say, I absolutely enjoy being a part of this committee to support some agencies that I know about and to learn about new ones. This year, we were able to support 826. As I stated in the past, my children were a part of this program, so I really appreciate being able to give funding to this. Washtenaw International Theater, this is new. I didn't know a lot about them. What I really like about them is their mission. Their mission is to help students find their voice. And I really love that. They also help them overcome isolation and anxiety. And one reason that I got up here in this seat is while I was a little older, I appreciate people being able to find their voice at a younger age. So that is one reason why I really wanted to support Washington International Theater and Ypsilanti Youth Athletic Association. I was also happy to support them because I know the work that they do in the community for youth.
Thank you. Councilmember Dixon?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be able to serve on the committee for the youth mini grants. And honestly, in my opinion, this selection of organizations that serve youth has honestly been one of the easiest that we've, come to some decision making in these meetings. All three are great organizations that serve the youth, and I'm glad to see y'all get the funding that y'all need to continue programming and hopefully expand programming.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
Yeah, just right quick, they said all the things, but just that I'm just excited that we were able to support multiple orgs, even though not all to the complete amount, but we hope that it still shows our support for all the work that folks are doing.
Thank you. Councilmember McLean?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. How many applicants do we have for this?
I think we had 5. And one of the applicants was a recent previous one that we supported. And so that's just been something as a committee that we've decided that we want to really share the funds. And then one of the other orgs, which we also were supporting, actually just determined that this wasn't the right time for them, because their ability to provide programming was shifting. And so that allowed us to actually support 2 of the organizations with a larger amount, which we were really excited to be able to do.
Further comments from council? I'll just say, I am excited every time we get to award these mini grants. I remember when I worked with our former mayor to create this mini grant process, and I'm really appreciative to council that we've continued to commit and prioritize this, even when, funds are tight. But I think it's very important to support youth programming. When 826 was here, we talked about how important it is for young people to be engaged, and I think all of these programs give an outlet for a youth voice. They can speak for themselves, and for us to be good partners, in the community and supporting our young people who really, really, really need our support. Councilmember Fellows?
I do have just a quick thing. I'm just looking forward to seeing a production sometime.
Oh, yeah. And so, all right. So, if there are no further comments, we will vote. But before we do that, I'm going to say, after we vote on this, we're going to take a short recess because we have a little fun check presentation that we are going to do for each group so we can get some photos. But if there's no further comment,
Before we get to that, I would like to thank Councilmember King for bringing up the idea about the big check, because it's gonna be real cool. Thank you.
yeah, it is cool. Now that we have it, we can do fun things with it. So thank you for that, for sure. But if there's nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
Absolutely.
Vote carries.
Thank you. I don't know.
It.
Okay.
Usable.
So the motion is,
Can I just
yeah.
move to extend before we get into this? Because it's there, right?
All right, look, go ahead. And then we'll be right with it.
Move to extend to 11 o'clock.
Oh, you're so.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor of extending to 11 p.m.?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. With that, we're going to extend to 11 p.m., but we're going to take a little break. So y'all think?
Just to take pictures, yeah.
Yeah. 5 minutes. Now, we are never good with short. We are not good with short times, but 5 minutes. Okay.
I'm gonna take pictures of her, so she can send to her.
Okay.
From up here, that's FYI.
All right, the meeting is called back to order and we are ready for you.
Thank you guys so much. I'm Catherine Claybrook Cavan. I'm an Ypsi resident, and on behalf of 826 Michigan, we are so honored to receive this grant that is going to go directly towards our Teen Leadership Lab. And oh yeah, so our program manager Megan Gilson is here, and I'm also joined by Tay Lewis, one of our teen leaders. And we'll keep this very short since we were able to be here earlier this year. So I know everybody is familiar with 826 and the work that we do connecting volunteers in the community with young people together on really exciting writing projects and working with young people to develop their writing skills and, of course, their confidence. And this just feels like such an exciting and appropriate opportunity for one of our teen leaders to be able to share about what writing is and why writing matters. And we thought because we asked Tay to do this, we should also ask the city council to do it. So we did bring a little writing activity for you. Yeah, you might know some of these. So, oh, sorry, thank you. All right, so I'll just quickly explain. Oh, I'm upside down. Did that go? Uh-oh, we got homework. Okay. This might not
up with the screen right now.
Okay. Well, we can improvise. The most important things that I wanted to share before we turn it over to Tay is that our programs in the community are free. We work in schools, Ypsi community schools. We work in all the branches of the Ypsi community in the Ypsi Public Library, and of course in community centers. And the writing activity that we have is one that we're trying to do with lots of folks in the community. And it's just asking why writing matters to you. And we, since we've been here for the past couple of hours, we got to see a lot of the work that you all are doing, how important writing is, like really thinking about the way you want to communicate to your audience. And I think that's been really powerful for us. And we know it's important for the community. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that 826 has been in existence for 20 years here locally in Michigan. And just this year we moved to Ypsilanti. So our headquarters had been in Ann Arbor. And just this summer we moved to now be in residence at EMU. And we're really excited about the collaborative partnerships that are happening there. So we are able to work with so many amazing faculty members and also the student body at EMU to serve as volunteers in our programs, even more so than they have in the past. But I want to let Tay talk about your experience working in our program. Maybe you could just share a little bit about the program and then why writing matters.
Okay. Hello, I'm Tay. I'm 15, and for the vast majority of my life, I've lived in Ypsilanti. In my free time, I am either getting help with my homework at programs like Educate Youth, or I do lots of volunteer work. Being a part of 826 is very important to me because I get to help young writers express themselves in creative ways, which is a reason why I think writing is very important.
Thank you. Awesome.
And for those city council members who remember Jade was here earlier. She had to go because of homework in school. But she wanted me to share what she wrote, which was, "Hello, I'm Jade. I've lived in Ypsi my whole life. I'm one of the teen leaders. Writing to me means building confidence, finding healthy ways to cope with hard situations, and expressing creativity." And then she was really excited because she wanted to be the one to ask you guys to share why writing matters to you. And I do want to just also add that Megan Gilson, our program manager here in Washtenaw County, do you want to share anything about the Holmes program? we have one other piece of student writing that we can share before we put you guys on the spot to share yours.
All right, so this is from our third grade writing club at Holmes Elementary, led by the fabulous Caitlin Koska, also an Ypsi resident. Unfortunately, had to leave to put her baby to bed. But this piece was written by Layla, who is an 8-year-old at Holmes Elementary. It's about 2 baby dragons. So she said, "Gold was brave and silly. Since she was a baby dragon, she couldn't shoot out big balls of fire, and Bloom was brave and caring. Bloom had a map of where the treasure was. The map showed a fork in the path. Gold went in front of Bloom and she got lost. Bloom went the right way to the treasure to find Gold. Bloom was worried about Gold. She could only hear her own echo. Gold and Bloom were reunited. They went back on track. They found the treasure box and they opened it. They saw a word, but it was dusty, so they couldn't read it. They brushed off the word and they saw the word friendship. They hugged each other and said, 'Friendship is the real treasure.'" The end.
Oh,
So cute.
very cute.
So this is
Right?
third grade. Yes, 8 years
8 years
old.
old.
So each week, and this is like fresh writing from the students folder too. So yeah, they meet once a week with Caitlin and a small group of writers in the library at Holmes Elementary and get to write about whatever they want, and it gets published in a book at the end of the program. So at the end of the school year, each third grader at Holmes will be a published author.
Amazing.
We did promise the teen leaders that we would invite you all to the next book release party so that you have a chance to meet some of our teaching artists and also to see what this amazing gift is going to do for our teen leadership program. So we just want to thank you so much for considering us and yeah, having our students come to speak. And do any of you want to share what you wrote about writing? Or you can also
Jade would want.
Yeah, but right. Think about Jade.
Jade asked for this.
So the question is why writing? And I wrote, writing is like a form of like therapy for me. So getting thoughts on paper and creativity flowing like lowers my stress. So yeah.
Anybody else want to share? How's it working?
I was gonna say the similar. Writing is therapy, and it also for me it gives me an opportunity to go back and look at what I wrote and reevaluate maybe a decision I made at that moment.
Anybody else?
I just said it was it gives opportunity to voice the thoughts inside my head.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm going to work on it.
Okay.
We can.
I was doodling things down, so what came to mind, I was thinking back to when I was a kid. It helped me to enhance my vocabulary and it helped with my reading. And then it's a way of expression and to boost my confidence and me to like channel my voice.
They're
So
so
many
good.
ones.
Would you guys
Yeah.
be okay with us collecting those so we can show the?
Yeah, you can. Let me. Oh,
That'd be great.
you know.
Yeah.
Students, don't forget to put your name on it.
You can. You want to put my name on it too?
If you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you all so much. This is really meaningful, and we look forward to letting you know about our upcoming publication release parties.
Good to see you. Yes. Councilmember McLean?
Thank you. One quick question for you. So glad that you are now residing in Ypsilanti.
Yes.
What took you so long?
Good question. Why?
Glad you saw the light.
Yeah.
Do you really want to answer?
Sure.
Well, we've worked in Ypsi for the last 20 years, and our organization actually is in Ann Arbor and Detroit. We run programs in all 3 cities, and we've had such a good, strong foundation with the schools and the libraries. Those have served as our hubs in Ypsilanti, and after the pandemic, things changed, and it just became clear through the voices of a lot of the families that we serve that it makes sense to be closer to Ypsi. So we were able to come.
Glad you're here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This was all. I love warm fuzzies. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for hanging out so late and tell his mom that we're sorry. We're sorry. Okay. Councilmember Fellows, you have resolution 229.
I thought we were getting a break after that.
That was the break.
Yeah.
That was the break. Sorry. And we're working.
I know, we're gonna go.
All right.
I think the mayor has to go first.
Can I go
yes,
first?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Fellows, 229.
Okay.
What do we-
It's not the PUD one?
PUD.
Okay. Okay. Resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti, whereas the city has an interest in protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the community, and whereas the city has a master plan that reflects the policy goals of the city, including the guiding values that everyone in the region knows Ypsilanti has a great things to do and great places that are in great shape. And Ypsilanti is a great place to do business, especially the green and creative kind. And whereas the applicant, Steve Wysinski, intends to enhance the city's creative economy, and whereas the Planning Commission recommends the city approve the adaptive reuse plan unit development for the site known as 908 North Congress with the property's legal description in the attached ordinance, and now therefore be it resolved that Ypsilanti City Council adopt ordinance number 1454 entitled Adaptive Reuse Plan Unit Development Wood and Watt Project with conditions as recommended in the request for legislation memo upon second and final reading, and I so move.
Been moved and supported. Is there any discussion on this second reading of the PUD ordinance? Councilmember McLean?
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, just a quick note of support and really looking forward to seeing how things develop. Looking forward to having you in the neighborhood.
To staff, is there any changes from last time and this time? Okay, no updates.
Any other questions or comments? If not, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Fellows. Councilmember Tucson.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Councilmember King.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Wonderful.
What?
Awesome. Councilmember McLean, you have 230.
Resolution 2025-230, resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti that the following residents be appointed to the City of Ypsilanti boards and commissions as indicated below. Jessica Tsakolis, Cheyenne Garcia, Colton Ray, and Elliot Roglin. I so move.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember McLean, supported by Councilmember Tucson.
I can say for the appointee for the Sustainability Commission that this came with a lot of support from the actual commission, both in terms of the chair of the commission as well as members. And that Jessica has been attending a few of the different meetings. And so they're really excited to have her join. And I would say I supported Jessica's application because she has experience serving on committees. And I like how she talked about partnership and bringing city initiatives forward.
Thank you. Councilmember McLean?
Mayor, just to note, this is not a question on the actual members, but we've got expiration dates, again, seemingly random. Or it's not here. If there's anybody to address that right now, but I have no idea why their expiration days are in the middle of November.
Because we made changes to how we were going to do expiration dates for the commission.
Yeah, the Affordability Committee, right?
The tenant rights.
Tenant rights.
Yeah, but even the Sustainability Commission, the expiration is 11/18/2028. Or 10/21/2028.
Okay.
Well, they're different. Go ahead.
the goal was to appoint people into set terms, not to set the terms according to when they are appointed. So in other words, terms that would end typically at the first of the year or the middle of the year, June 30th, July 1, and to slot people into those kinds of terms so that expirations are staggered by year, but they all come to, say, in the middle of a year on a particular commission.
This tenant right committee, it should just expire on the completion of the subcommittee's work.
So they're not all for that.
Right.
One of them is for sustainability, and there is a date certain on here, so.
Yeah, but let me look up what they're.
Okay.
Looked up, I want to give some brief information about the other three candidates, Cheyenne Garcia, Colton Ray, Elliot Rogalin. These applications came in for the Tenants' Rights Committee and were all very strong. I was very happy to see like a lot of applicants for the committee. With Colton Ray, Colton is a member of Ipsy Big, and so the intent is to appoint him to that seat on the Tenants' Right Committee. And Cheyenne Garcia and Elliot Rogalin would be regular members of the committee for the 3 seats that were open for residents of Ipsy who are tenants. So there is still an open seat for at-large member that is a tenant and a City of Ipsy resident. So I just want to mention that too, that this does not fill out the whole commission yet, or committee. Rather, Cheyenne is someone who's a lifelong renter and a researcher studying homelessness and developmental psychology, and is interested in policy. And similarly, Colton Ray is a Master of Social Work and student at EMU who is working on kind of macro social work and policy. So I'm excited at the thought that these folks that are interested in policy work would be joining us, also who have the experience of being a renter in Ypsilanti for some time. And the Elliot Rogalin, who I haven't met in person yet, but I did speak to by phone, has lived here for 3 years and is a undergrad completing a degree in environmental science and policy, and hopes to go to grad school at EMU to finish a graduate degree in public policy. So again, somebody else that is interested in that type of work. And so I'm just excited to see what could come out of this committee with these folks involved.
City manager?
The expiration date for the Sustainability Commission, May 1st, 2028. The May 1st, 2027, because that is a vacant one. That is an unfinished term.
On these. Please call the roll.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons, Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, you have 231.
Resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti, whereas Mama Pizza LLC has applied to the City of Ypsilanti and the Michigan Liquor Control Commission requesting the following Class C on-premises retailer permit MCL 436.11072 at 5 North Hamilton, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197, Washington County, and whereas a public hearing to consider the proposed on-premises retailer for Mama Pizza LLC was duly noticed and held on November 18th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the request of Mama Pizza LLC for the property located at 5 North Hamilton, Ypsilanti, Michigan 48197 be approved contingent on approval of all applicable departments. And I so move.
Support.
Then moved by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen, supported by Councilmember McLean. City Manager.
Council, this is a DDA redevelopment liquor license. I believe the owner is here. In order to have this approved, it would be contingent on building department approval. The applicant would need to add seating at the location and potentially other things to make sure that it's compliant with building codes.
Oh, okay. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Sam, Mama Pizza. Most of you know me. Yeah, love Epsi. Thanks for all the support. We do have the room. Fire Marshal came, measured the room. We are working on the plans to move everything back, and we will satisfy all the code. Fire Marshal and the building, everything will be like we get all the permits from everybody for the seating. That we are working on it, but the LCC takes like 6 months to get approved. So we want to get this going and get a conditional approved because Liquor Control Commission does come back at the final step and say, are you okay with it? So by that time, I'll have everything moved back and add the 25 seats. And so another thing I wanted to say was in the Ypsilanti or in the depot town, like if somebody wants to have some Indian street food and have a couple of drinks, there's nothing like that. It's like Indian street food, like samosa, dosa, or some spicy curry stuff and drinks. They're going to Ann Arbor or Canton, and we are losing out on that customers. So when they come, they'll be here spending their money. So thank you for your support, and I'll satisfy all the requirements from all the departments. Thank you.
There's a public hearing, so I'm going to open that first, and then we'll come back. So just 1 second. If there's anybody in the audience who would like to speak to council about this, please raise your hand.
City of Ypsilanti that the public hearing for a new Class C on-premises retailer permit for Mama Pizza LLC at 5 North Hamilton be officially closed, and I so move.
By Mayor Pro Tem, supported by Councilmember Simmons and King. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Yes, this came to the DDA at our meeting last month. There was support. Again, you're a great partner in the community. The other members of the DDA had nothing but good things to say about Sam and Mama's Pizza. And so I wanted to name that this did go through the process with the DDA and it was passed and approved. Questions or comments from council? Councilmember McLean.
Mayor, just to piggyback on what you just said, I know Sam and know him to be incredibly community-minded. Completely support this this permit request, and yeah, couldn't ask for a better neighbor.
Or fellows?
Yeah, I'm also familiar with Sam and Mama Pizza, and really you're a institution in that block along with Dos Hermanos, and I would say kind of the most burgeoning economic activity in our downtown corridor is coming from you and others on that block. So I thank you for that. I just had a couple questions, or mainly one. is what is your vision for this? Because the way you're set up right now is very like parlor like, like grab a slice and maybe a mango lassi and then leave. So what are you thinking? Not just for space wise, but like what kind of drinks are you planning to serve and how are you going to market it?
So it'll be a couple of like a very limited.
You'd speak in them like
Yeah.
sorry.
It'll be, right now we have 15 or 20, but I need 25. So I just move everything back, add some more interior decoration. And there will be like a set menu of like a tapas, but like a curry, where you have samosa, dosa, the Indian street food that nobody else has eaten in anywhere around here. You almost have to go to Ann Arbor. Even that's like substandard. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Ipsy pride showing up.
Oh,
I like him.
yeah. So it'll be like a couple of drinks. Somebody wants to celebrate a birthday and some with a curry instead of just going the bar food. And so this will be like 25, 30 seats, like a couple of drinks and a beer and that kind of celebration.
What kind of drinks do you have in mind? Is it going to be like cocktails or really beer or wine? I mean, what kind? I'm just trying to.
Beer, wine, and I still have to do research on the rest of the stuff. What's needed? Beer, wine, and some spirits.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yeah, I support the business and everything like that. I guess my question when I saw this was why? So like kind of like why like go into this new arena? I know you were saying obviously wanting to expand options for Indian street food, but yeah.
Currently, we are running at a loss, financial loss, with all the good support and everything. Pizza is a tough business, competing with the Little Caesars or Domino's. It's, and we keep the prices low, like $8 pepperoni, so everybody can have it. But at the end of the day, it's not paying the bills. So with this way, we can keep the lights on. We bring the wealthy people from Ann Arbor, Canton, they got that way we can pay the bill. Right now, we are running at a loss.
And then it's like an expansion of your menu too.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments?
Looking forward.
About it, but also, to me, it seems like maybe there needs to be a little bit of a rebrand to go along with it too. Then, so people understand that the business is changing, and so you do have the new clientele coming through the door as well.
Thank you. Will.
Hopefully, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say hopefully the DDA could also support with
I was
some
gonna
of that,
say
too.
that's an area that could probably support for sure. The discussion. Thank you for staying with us, Sam. Please call the roll.
Thank you.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Thank you. Congrats. Look forward to it. Okie dokie. Have a good night. Mayor Pro Tem, you have 233.
Do resolved by the City Council of the City of Ypsilanti that the city treasurer be authorized to levy and assess on the December 2025 tax roll the attached listing of unpaid bills totaling $340,669.79. And I so move.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Did I miss? Oh, supported by Councilmember King. Hi, Reagan. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. So twice each year, unpaid bills for more than 30 days are added into the tax roll as special assessments. This year, it includes board up, business inspection, ordinance fines and costs, HB fees, and drain maintenance from Washtenaw County. Tonight, we are asking Council to authorize the City Treasurer to levy Winter 2025 special assessment as presented.
Thank you. Councilmember King?
So upon looking over this with some of my fellow colleagues, I noticed on page 212 for his address 403 South Hamilton, it's 39,000 in fees. And I noticed for Green Street, we all are familiar with that property. It seems like their fees are tremendously smaller. And I was just wondering,
Was that for business inspection or?
City manager?
correct.
Ordinance fines and costs.
So that is for a property that had excessive junk and it was the cost of the abatement. So there had to be several different trips that took all day and that is the cost the city had to pay and we're just passing it on to them.
From,
That's abatement fees.
mhm.
So like we set staff there to clean it?
No, we contract with the company to perform our abatements, and that's the invoice that we were providing.
Thank you.
Piece of work is that?
It's actually done by, I believe, cubic ton or something. I'd have to double check, but it was a tremendous amount of junk that had to be removed.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yeah, still, I guess it still seems odd, given that Arbor One's fees, I mean, I think they in total exceed that amount, but
We haven't abated that property. So if we were to abate that property, cost would be astronomical.
Yeah.
It'd be in the millions.
yeah, but
We
like
don't-
40,000 for a single family residence.
Sure, I'd be happy to pass the invoices to council, but we have not abated Arbor One or that property, so these would be AHB fines and other non-payment of permit inspections. But this was specific to this property. A warrant had to be issued and tremendous amount of junk was removed from the property.
Further questions from council?
I'd like to see the invoice at some.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, there were, I'm just shocked at the number of board ups that we have in the city. This is like 2 pages of board ups just in general, but, there are 2 things, that struck me as, this many small amounts, for Owen. Can you tell me what Owen is?
Drains.
Drain, yep. That came from Washtenaw County.
Mhm.
That's for their maintenance.
So the Owen drain, so I tried to look that up and it's like way east of here, so that didn't really help. Or west of here. And then right. The other one's a drain too, right?
Yeah,
The dam. So why, how is it that all of these haven't been collected? I mean, how did they get noticed that there was this cost? For the special assessment, right?
So I believe that they probably got the same set of notices that we as the city actually did. But I did want to explain that the Owen Drain runs through the western portion of the city. It's largely in the College Heights neighborhood and the western portion of Normal Park.
Right. For some reason, when I looked it up on the map, there was 101 drain and it wouldn't take me anywhere else. And judging from the Google Maps isn't what it should be, right?
Yeah, but what is the fees? Is just the service fees for the drain use for the neighborhoods?
Um,
The math is I'm not the Washtenaw County Drain Commissioner and only have a slight view into what they do. But they perform a certain amount of work in that drain shed in that area. And then the people who benefit from that work are special assessed. It's not simply for the existing.
And they're supposed to receive notification of this,
Yes.
this
We
fee,
received a bill.
and then you send it on.
They likely, no,
Oh, you receive a bill and then.
we
we
received a bill
assess
for
it.
the city
Okay.
property that it's within that. So
recreation park actually, is built. Please call the roll. That quick.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean,
Yes.
Councilmember King,
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. All right, Councilmember Simmons, you have 2, 3, 4. Whereas the city of Ypsilanti is one of the poorest cities in the state of Michigan, and 35% of its children live in poverty. And whereas the city of Ypsilanti has a vested interest in improving the lives, economic stability, and well-being of its citizens. And whereas the city recognizes that RX Kids is a universal program that provides cash assistance to moms and babies when they most need it, this program stabilizes families by enabling them to maintain stable housing, pay for childcare so parents can work, and provide food for their families. Overall, strengthening family financial security and improving maternal mental health and well-being. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Ypsilanti approve the city manager to sign and support services agreement with Give Directly to administer the program to launch RX Kids in the City of Ypsilanti, subject to the approval of the city attorney, and I so move. Moved by Councilmember Simmons, supported by Councilmember McLean. Katie is the brute strength is out here right now.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening. So this is just the contract with Give Directly to issue the payments. I've been going back and forth with Give Directly as well as with the city attorney. I think we're at a place that we're comfortable with signing it, so.
Councilmember Simmons. Just a couple of quick questions. I wanted to get a sense of how much of the funds go to pay for the platform expenses.
I think that I think it's 10%, 20%. About that one in a minute, sorry.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure that out because I was trying to do math, which is not always good. But so because it says so we have up to $100,000, right? Or is it more? I think it says 100,000. Yes.
So the city is like what you guys already passed is that's $100,000. And so it's $100,000 over 2 years. That's what we're contracting for of what the
That's what
city
we-
is contributing. So there's other funds that have come in from other sources for this program.
Okay, what are then that helps too, because that was, so what are how much are the other funds? I was trying to get a sense of how many families we'd be able.
We will be able to serve the babies born in the city of Ypsilanti. So when we did the math initially, there's approximately 200 babies. And so we figured out how many of those babies are born on Medicaid, because then the state contributes a portion for the Medicaid babies, and then for private and public. So we have philanthropy dollars as well as the city dollars that are going towards the program as well.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed the amount.
I didn't say it.
Oh, okay.
I was explaining the sources.
Oh, yeah.
First,
Okay,
because
yeah,
there's a little
because
bit
then
of-
I was thinking, so you're saying about, that's supposed to be trying to service about 200 babies.
Right.
Because, yeah, which our money might service about 22 babies.
Right.
Okay.
And that's before the fees.
And that's before the fees. So that's why I was trying to get a sense of what
We're
that
funded.
was.
We are fully funded at this point for plus 2 years. But definitely for the first year for sure.
And it's 200 babies each year?
It is 200 babies a year. I think it's 160 something babies at the last census. But we were working initially from, yeah, it was 200 initially. And I'm still pulling up my spreadsheet.
I'm the only one the internet is not working.
for the first year from the city of Ypsilanti, 25 from the IPSI 15 from Old National Bank, 10,000 from the Ann Arbor Community Foundation. We have 150 from the Song Foundation. And that's the first year. And then the second year, we have 50,000 from the city of Ypsilanti and 150,000 from the Song Foundation.
Or that we'll have to get to be able to make up the rest for.
Yep, we're gonna we'll keep fundraising. That's why we're only signing, I mean, so the contract that we're signing right now is our funds. That's why I'm coming to you guys to approve signing the contract. Ever of the additional funds until we have them, or, you know. Some of those funds are also running directly through RX Kids because they helped apply for grants on our behalf. And so Song Foundation and the Old National Bank are being ran through them. And then we are going to be invoicing the Ann Arbor Community Foundation as well as the DDA.
Councilmember Simmons,
I
what
know.
was your questions? Councilmember Fellows and then Councilmember McLean.
I was just gonna say, it's really cool to hear that it's gonna be 10 times the amount as far as like families that are helped than I was originally imagining. And I guess the only question I have is really for comms staff, and it's just like what are we gonna do for outreach to our residents so they know?
Yep. So I've been, since we had our press conference a couple of weeks ago, I've been in contact with Trinity, U of M, IHA, Corner Health Center, the Shelter Association. There are others, Packard Health. Basically any of the contacts, the doulas that I also had contact with, to get all of their contact information. We have a 2-hour onboarding application process, question FAQ kind of a call tomorrow with the service providers. I'll also be taking posters and bears and onesies to all of those different departments over the next week or two, to make sure that they are ready over the next couple of weeks. And then obviously we'll be doing social media, telling folks, hey, it's coming, hey, it's coming, hey, it's here. That sort of stuff. We're working in conjunction with RX Kids to do that. And so it's sort of an ever evolving process, but tomorrow is the big meeting where we are going to sit down with all the different service providers saying, here's how you do it. And then we're going to also record that. So if there's anybody who's missed, we can email that link out and then they can watch the FAQ and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Councilmember McLean.
Thank you, Mayor. It's Kitty. Following up, I think, on some of Councilmember Simmons' questions. So the payments continue for how long? Is it for a year or is it longer?
It will be it'll be the point at which it'll be so December 1st is when it launches. And so then it'll go for the 2 years that we're fully funded for. And so I think that and I would have to read through the contract, but I believe it was like April of 2028 or something, 2027, that like the final payment, like based on people who would continue to be registered for that 2-year period, would continue to get our payments.
Were you asking how long each family would get payments
Yes.
for?
Sorry.
Which is 6 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a much easier answer.
I just wanted to.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. And the idea is also we have a couple other courses that we think are likely to come in, and we're hoping that either in year 2 or 3, we would be able to launch the full year program.
Okay.
With additional funding sources, which hopefully will happen.
Like after December 1st, would they qualify, or is it pregnancies that start after December 1st?
So you'll have to be pregnant, or the baby will have to have been born December 1st or later, because that's the launch of our program. Yep. So I mean, like if they're mid-pregnancy December 1st, they still would give the pregnancy payment. Yeah.
Further questions or comments? Councilmember King.
Just a quick question. I know you named off all the different agencies that you would possibly meet with tomorrow. Have you heard back from all of those hospitals or doctor's offices yet? I know you said it will be recorded, but I'm just wondering.
I think the vast majority, I have about 20 or 30 people who have responded to
Okay.
the call for tomorrow.
And then my final question is, how could we help as council members get the word out?
Sharing social media posts, yeah, talking to folks if you have contacts of folks who are pregnant or having babies, word of mouth is going to be important as well, I think. Or if you're a service provider or have contacts with other service providers that I didn't name that you think are major service providers in the area, let me know and I'm happy to reach out to them.
Right.
Pass me contact
What I've been
information.
doing is giving folks, and I've been giving them your email, and having them email Katie. I've been sharing on social media, and then folks have actually just approached me and asked me, and I've directed them back to our wonderful point person.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be really clearly communicating because this is obviously I don't know if it's obvious. It's the city of Ypsilanti, right? And so like making sure that folks understand that that's within the boundaries of the city of Ypsilanti.
That's been the main question I have
Yes.
gotten when people
Yep,
have asked.
me too.
Folks have reached out from other municipalities, and I've had to tell them.
And all the encouragement that you guys could do to like expand. I mean, I think it's a great idea if we could get it to 48198, 48197. I think that, I think we all realize this whole community needs this program. And so the more we can raise funding wise, the further we can go.
Yep.
I mean, they had the whole county in Wayne
Yeah.
County got it.
Yeah, they were
Purdue.
gloating.
I know, I felt
And
it.
they were like, yeah, you all did an Ipsy, great, but we got 7 more cities in Wayne.
I think the
Like,
county supported it like $7 million.
They did.
It was,
They did.
it was a big lift.
They went in.
And
Yeah,
4198, 4197 would also be a big lift.
Yeah, it's big. Yes.
I mean, not that the city wasn't a big lift. It was. It was. And I'm thankful to our state legislators for realizing that this is a great program to support.
Yes. All right, anything further?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'm still a little fuzzy on is like, so we're contracting with these people to just do our funding.
Yep.
Couldn't this have been collaborative in terms of one
It,
thing to defray the costs of the administrative costs for this?
so the administrative cost is defrayed by all of the amount raised. It's not just coming out of just the $100,000.
Got it.
So the rest of the money will be also moved through Give Directly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, this is
because
simply
it's gonna
the
be
city of
one
Ypsilanti
single.
Just saying we're using
our funds
Yeah, for this.
that we're
Okay.
contracting with Give Directly.
Okay.
I'm not
We don't have to
signing a
vote on the-
contract with them for more money than we have in our
Right.
coffers to pay for the program.
All right. Anything further? Well, yes. Again, we thank you again for all your. I have enjoyed working with you on this.
It's been a fun one.
It's been a fun ride, and I think folks are really appreciative, and just I've gotten a lot of gratitude for the lift that this has been to get this going. And again, thank you to our legislators and our community partners who believed in this and are.
Yeah, I had a great meeting with Corner Health today, just chatting about it. They're really excited to be able to offer this to moms over at Corner Health Center. And I think that all the providers that I'm working with are very excited and thankful to work here. So thank you all.
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Fellows,
Yes.
Councilmember Tucson,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Councilmember King, you have 235.
And it recognizes the importance of an overnight warming shelter during the cold, harsh winter months in Michigan and seeks to assist our most vulnerable. And whereas the city operates the Ypsilanti Freight House and generates revenue to help support the ongoing maintenance and community purpose of the space. And whereas the investment in a warming center at the Freight House is a part of a broader strategy to prioritize community health collaboration with community partners like Shelter Association of Washtenaw County, and where St. Luke's Episcopal Church and Second Baptist are hosting overnight warming shelter, and the Shelter Association of Washtenaw County will provide operational support. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Ypsilanti City Council approve up to $50,000 of support towards the Shelter Association of Washtenaw County operating an overnight warming shelter in Ypsilanti, beginning in November 2025 and ending by March 2026. I so move.
Support.
Been moved by Councilmember King, supported by Councilmember McLean. Hello again, Katie.
Hello. So, I think this was just a logistical matter that that I didn't bring it forth when I brought forth the daytime warming shelter. This is the support for the overnight shelter. We're no longer processing the contract through us. However, we have in the past supported both the overnight as well as the daytime. My understanding from communications with Nicole are that St. Luke's is doing overnight Monday through Friday, and then starting in December, Second Baptist will be doing Saturday and Sunday. I do think that they're trying to funnel all the requests through the Delana Center, and then because there's limited space at both of the Ypsilanti locations to ensure that they're, I think, looking at it strategically and ensuring that everybody has a place to stay overnight. I know that it was mentioned that we didn't have it 7 days a week, and we don't until December. However, my understanding is that we will.
City Manager.
I was communicating with Nicole during this. It will begin the 6th of December.
And it's even with all this funding that we're going to put into it, it's not enough. And that was outlined today a lot earlier. And so I'm hopeful that we will come up with a more permanent solution in the near future.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to St. Luke's and Second Baptist for continuing to support.
Ditto, ditto, ditto.
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
Councilmember McLean.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, awesome. Councilmember Simmons, you have 224, which was tabled at our previous meeting, our last meeting.
Resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti, whereas the City of Ypsilanti has an interest in remediating and developing Water Street, and whereas the City of Ypsilanti will be engaging an ad hoc citizens committee to develop a request for qualifications, and the city has interest in utilizing that committee in the most comprehensive way to develop the best community benefits for the Water Street redevelopment area. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Ypsilanti approve the process laid out by staff to utilize the ad hoc citizens committee to develop community benefits for the Water Street redevelopment area. And I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Simmons, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen. Howdy again, Katie.
So you'll notice that I threw in there an alternative timeline. This one lays it out that we would have 3 meetings with that ad hoc committee, and then release the RFQ. Then we would have that same committee continue to meet, a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th time, through January 2027 with any potential, any of the developers that come out of that process continue to go through the development process all the way back to council. That it would be the same committee, that idea that would behold the consistency. It would also help inform the RFQ, but also go through a community benefits agreement.
Thank you. All right.
I have a whole lot to say about that.
Yeah. Councilmember McLean, and then I think I saw Councilmember Fellows.
Question on the timing. So from what you've just laid out, Katie, RFQ and then multiple meetings after the release. And at what point would responses to the RFQ be due proximate to the final meetings that take place after that release?
So the 3 meetings would happen, we would release the RFQ, then that would be a little bit like a pause with that committee. And so then we would do the process of the RFQ, right? Like taking questions from folks who are interested, posting the information on the website. And then qualifications would come to the clerk's office. And then
we'd ask the ad hoc committee to come back, help review those qualifications, because that wasn't part of the ad hoc committee. And then potentially help do any interview questions or any follow-up that we would need to do with any of the developers who responded. Then take something back, take a recommendation back to council on somebody to be engaged with. Then they would also meet at different stages of the development. So at 0%, so like have the first meeting, like that would be act as what the community benefits typically looks like. They would meet with the developer, but before they have a development plan, then at 50% of a plan, so they can still make sure that, again, those same benefits that were in the very beginning have been carried through the 0%, 50%, and then again at the 90%. Then it goes back to planning commission with that CBA agreement, and then to council with the plan as well as the CBA agreement. CBA.
Mayor, I think I understood the response to that.
Sorry, it's a little.
Oh, it's a lot, but I guess what I'm getting at is I want to be certain that at the time the request for the RFQ, request for qualifications, is released, that we will have had in place the expectations.
Right.
So that those expectations were not changing the goal line after the fact.
Yeah, I think that there's 3 meetings designed, but there's an opportunity when they have a meeting with council, which was also in the ad hoc plan, that they could request additional meetings if they need to make sure that those are in there in that RFQ at that point.
Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah. So I was able to meet with Katie and Joe and talk about this a little bit. And first I understand this was like a long conversation last time. And from the remarks I was hearing from council as well as staff, as well as considering the original resolution, I came to that meeting seeing this new timeline, largely in support of it with just like a few tweaks. And it seems like some of the tweaks made it and some of it hasn't. So I'm going to just move to amend some of those things. But, I think that this is, somewhat of a compromise of all the different in the conversation that I've heard. So I'm okay with moving forward with a version of this at this time, with the caveat that, this probably will change with certain development scenarios. So if there isn't a master developer for the entire property, then there's going to be multiple development proposals and this will no longer apply. So this plan is very likely, or, is possible to change at certain points. And so I see it more of as like a draft outline of what could happen with one certain scenario. There's also situations of delays. So if a developer's not ready for their proposal, then it's going to make this a longer timeline. Probably some members of the committee may leave and we have to reappoint or appoint new members. And so I'm just kind of naming this all as, I understand like this is an intent of what we're trying right now, but that it can change based on circumstances. I do also want to just say publicly that, I did think about, a lot of what the reason might be to this kind of like quicken the previous timeline that was laid out, the pacing of it, why there was so much consideration to what happened before the RFQ was released, which is when this committee's primary work would happen. And the only thing I could come up with is that there are already like certain developers that are maybe being spoken to already based on current RFQ drafts or otherwise, and maybe like staff is trying to set expectations, like this is probably what's going to happen. And I'm just bringing that up because I worry of that because I've seen the history of development in the city. International Village comes to mind. So I do not support kind of like backroom deal style expectation setting with developers. And if that is happening, it should stop. Because this process was an intervention into kind of a status quo development plan, but with a lot of consideration to the things that staff has brought up, as well as what developers brought up, saying they want better expectations. So great, we will give the better expectations. Also, there's no promises because we don't know what's going to come out of this RFQ until it's done. So that is all I will hear what other people have to say before I make some amendments.
Councilmember Simmons.
Hello. So I have a couple of things too that I also will probably move into some possible amendments. One, I just want to name, like when I was reading the timeline, I was like, this timeline feels impossible. Like, seeing a few different projects move through the city, I've yet to see one go from giving, like saying you will be our developer, to breaking ground in like 7 to 9 months. So in the heart, like when I think about how we're trying to set clear expectations and to um, kind of lay that out, I feel like that already is going to be difficult. And I also think it then short shifts some different pieces. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Um, One of the things that I've been thinking about too, looking at this is, and I know I brought this up last time, kind of thinking about the difference to me between the RFQ versus the CBA, and the roles that they would play and like what that process of connection with the developer is, how that's different. And the other thing is just thinking about the time, like the length of the engagement for the committee. Um, and so one thing I was thinking about is just how we see, like, I experienced this in the committees I've participated in, where there's kind of an attrition that happens at a certain time. Like once it gets to a certain engagement level, that there tends to be attrition. And when I was looking at this timeline, it seems that actually the August to September time between when, or however that falls, but there's this time that's between when the RFQ has been proposed to council and then we would be voting on that. That feels like kind of a halfway point. And I actually think that that could provide a good opportunity for having some of the members from the RFQ to continue, but then also to have new members join that would be focused on the CBO, because that would be focused on specific other requirements. And I think that will also help to keep the group actually full and vital too. Um, and then the other thing with when I was looking at these times, I think there's a couple. So the way the timeline is set up now, it's like mid-September, council would, select a developer. There would be a meeting with the developer before they start their site plan. But then by the next meeting, they're at 50%. And I actually think that there needs more time because at that point, they will have only had one conversation with the developer directly. And then usually what happens in my experience is that the developer, usually that first meeting, there's, different things, but they might not need to do some of the same level setting. But even out of that, there's usually like, hey, here are some things that we're thinking about. And the developer would go back and like kind of, whatever. And then they would come back with some ideas. And I feel like there needs to be at least some of that before they're starting to develop a plan, because what we know is that once they start putting things on paper and, and moving through, then it makes it harder and harder. And I think that if we're trying to just be clear about what the expectation is with the developers, I don't think we should stray so far from what we've laid out and we've spent time working on in terms of that CBO process. So I would see both that there would need to be a meeting that would fall, an October meeting that's in between there, and probably even a December one in between those, that would give some time before the site plan is kind of at that 90%. And then the last was my main piece too, is I don't understand why the CBO is being presented to the Planning Commission for approval in that last piece. The CBO or the CBA would come to council. So I don't really see why there's that kind of extra layer of approval there.
It was my consistency of trying to make sure it was going through, like that it went all the way through the process. But
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I mean, they don't approve it, so.
Mm-hmm.
They do approve the site plan.
Yeah, so the site plan, yes, but I'm saying the CBA, I don't know. This is where I always get messed up, y'all, because I'm always like, I could say this, but then I'm like, should I start making my amendments now, or should I wait to hear from everyone first?
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you because I wind up just missing the boat.
You won't.
Trying to get consensus. Okay.
We can definitely correct the March one.
If you're doing some timeline amendments, I might offer one first because it comes earlier than what you mentioned.
Your points on dates are very valid, right? Like this could be a longer process than obviously I laid out. I tried to do this for like more for an example than anything. I think that I think it's the meetings and the types of meetings and the time more than the times, right? Saying that we're meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, meeting at 0%, 50%, 90%, right? Like that is the concept. Because I think that you're right. It absolutely could take 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
I do think I hear the attrition thing on a committee, but I think that like we have commissions that meet 10 times a year, right? 9 times a year. So I think over 2 or 3 years that I think that it's helpful, I think, for the both commission, like people who would volunteer to be on this committee to understand that it may be a 2 or 3 year meeting commitment is a valid thing for us to put out as an expectation at the very beginning, because it very well may. I mean, it could take longer than that. And again, whether this is exactly how we follow it, I think that like, yeah, there's a lot of things that could come up. I think that this is an idea of how it could go if we get a master developer, if people respond to the RFQ. Like, I don't know how this is going to go either. And in all fair transparency, I am always talking to developers. I've gotten 2 calls today on Water Street. They're constantly calling me, asking me what's going on and what's the update, and where are we at and where are things. And because people know we have Water Street, and so they are interested in potentially developing it once they know what the status of it is. So there's always those conversations happening all the time.
I think my concern is just like with the idea of saying that there's just this one solid group that's kind of determined at this other stage. Like, so that's where my big concern is that this one solid group is kind of going through, but without necessarily, if you're coming in again, whatever, I've said this multiple times, but I do think it's, to have that clarity. And then the other part is that, the way that it has the site plan, like those levels, that's different from this when we're going through the CBO process. They're not necessarily, it's not tied to certain percentages. And so that I see that as kind of a way that's trying to force the hand in a way of the committee members when it is a different process, because during the RFQ, they're not engaging directly with the developer. I don't think we should be removing that in the name of providing clarity. I think we should just be clear about that expectation, and then, having clear timeline, and then that way we can have clear timeline for the folks you know, volunteering. I think it's a little bit different, like an ad hoc committee versus a commission is a little different, I think in terms of, yeah, just the way people might approach it. But as we know, even with our commission, some people have a hard time holding on to those, that timeline, right? So yeah, I'm happy. I want to think about this timeline a little bit and just how to make it more clear. And I do think it would be a great thing to be able to bring on people that are specifically interested in going through CBO, because that's a different skill set than like creating an RFQ.
Councilmember Fellows?
Yeah, I want to just uplift that part. That one of the reasons why this is a compromise is because the expectations of the members are quite different for our RFQ visioning kind of task and role and CBO negotiation kind of thing. It's actually quite different psychologically, somatically, all these things. It's like, and this, I've been through a CBO process. It's intense. It's intense. And so I have a hard time imagining how, we tell people to come in and do all this cool visioning stuff and getting hopes up and like all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, now you got to like guarantee the benefits and to make sure you like, it is a different task. So I agree with Councilmember Simmons on that. But I am also confident in Ypsilanti residents to be able to do it. So I am, moving forward with this plan. So I just want to start making some adjustments. The first one is just based on, I thought from our conversation, we had more agreed on the RFQ being released around August based on the resolution stating that the committee will meet 6 times within 100 days of formation before the RFQ is released. And it's actually at minimum 6 times. So, and I think that it could change if the RFQ committee says we don't need that many sessions, but that's the direction that I would want the change to come from, not, okay, we're telling developers this one thing and now the committee's asking for more sessions and now the developers are mad or something. I don't know what's going on with it, but I would rather it be like, okay, the expectation is RFQ is coming out in August, but the committee actually decides we don't need that much time. So it's coming out in July instead. So I'm going to move to amend the RFQ release to August.
Been moved by Councilmember Fellows,
Support.
supported by Councilmember Simmons. All right, discussion on the amendment. To June down.
Release in August. That is the amendment.
Okay, and so then whereas it says August, those will be just subsequent meetings. They won't, okay, included in the first 6.
Fine for that. We will have an RFQ drafted. 3 months to revise an RFQ is certainly plenty of time. It's not like this is being drafted from scratch in
Oh, yeah.
March to June. We already have the document. We've already had many meetings. We already have lots of input into this. This is a revision. This is not a creation. So
Well, and technically we've asked Carlisle Wortman to draft an RFQ. So their draft, so we actually already have a draft of an RFQ. What they're doing is helping us to add the benefits to the RFQ, is my understanding, but
Councilmember Fellows.
Yeah. I know I can't just be like, trust me on this. But I don't want to go into a super long explanation, but if I have to, I will. I mean, the first meeting is simply going to be scheduling future meetings and electing a chair and a vice chair or what, and establishing, you know, baseline expectations, maybe talking a little bit about goals, Joe Myers said that he wanted to use one of these sessions just talk about the different TIF arrangements in exchange for community benefits, because there's several different brownfields and other TIF things, which is a whole rigmarole thing. So that's going to be another session. That's 2 meetings right there. The second meeting is one with all of council. So it's kind of unwieldy, bigger thing where we're trying to get all of council's input on this situation too. So that's already 3 meetings. It's not going to be enough time to have all of this done in 3 meetings. You know, I only have one other minor edit to this timeline, which is that I would like for council to consider hiring a facilitator for one of the beginning meetings. I don't know if the first or the second or the third, but one of those beginning meetings based on, I sent you all information before. It's Future Root or Yodi Mesfin Johnson, who's been doing the visioning and futuring for the countywide resiliency plan. And she has done a wonderful job of assisting county and, you know, like partner agencies and looking what it will take to figure out to make a resilient county. But part of it is thinking in advance, 5 years, 10 years into the future. And so, you know, I had a very beginning conversation with Yodi of like, would she be open to doing this kind of service for the city? She did agree to it. She did offer some ideas for it. I think, you know, the whole point of this committee was to slow down the process so it wasn't such a huge rush all the time of just like ram through a development, and to actually care about all the stakeholders in the community, all of their interests, and actually do the outreach necessary to bring people to the table. That was the point of this whole thing. So I would not concede going to a 3 meeting thing. I mean, even Katie just said the committee may decide to have more meetings, which it will decide. I can just guarantee you that based on the level of work it's going to take just for those first few meetings. So I just want to be also mindful of the developers and not overpromise them and say it's going to happen in June, because it's not. So why don't we set it at August now, and the committee, if it feels like it doesn't need that much time, they can make it shorter.
The council, you know, earlier too, based on.
If the committee wanted to meet twice a month instead of once monthly and get their 6 boom bam bum like in 3 months, fine. I just want to not come into it just like gangbusters and like, you guys got to finish this in 3 months and that's it. Like, I don't want to do that. That is not what the purpose of this was.
Tim?
It sounds like that commentary kind of negates the fact that there's already been input and there were meetings coming in. I look at the participation rate on that as pretty low, but something that hasn't been elaborated on is what are those differences, and how is what you're proposing for that visioning and engagement different than what's been done, and why do you expect it to have any more participation?
On October 9th to all of council to look at, and I understand you may have not seen that. It was this county resiliency plan visioning event that both the city manager and I attended as a reference for what the kind of spirit of what I'm hoping for one session of facilitation, so that people can name what they see for this largest asset of the city in a time scale that is, you know, engages people to actually go for more bold goals than they normally would. Because I think the normal process is to try to force people into thinking of things in a very practical, be realistic, this is it, this is all you can do, when we really do need to start looking at things in a more like, what do are we trying to get to? in 100 years from now? And what do we need to do in 5, 10, 50 years to get to the 100-year goal? And we should be doing this anyway as a council. And so this would be kind of like the committee is testing this out and seeing if it really does push to have more meaningful outcomes than the normal process that we usually do. I do also want to name, I don't know if most of are familiar here, I think Councilmember Simmons is familiar. Some of the work that Future Root and Yodi Messman are doing is also inspired by the work of Norma Wong, who is like interested in interventions that would actually bring us better results in climate resiliency and betterment for society.
All right. Thank you. I do agree with some of the stuff that Council Member Simmons is saying, simply because this has not been developed in a very long time. We do not want to rush and get something that we don't want, or even get community members that don't 100% understand the process because they feel rushed. I like I think a facilitator is something that will probably help members understand exactly what they're doing a little better, members of this committee. So I would vote yes. Thank you.
I guess I don't understand the whole concept of rush. It's like we've been through this, we've looked at different things, we have input from all the previous times that developers had come up. People have had objections to that. People have thought through that. I'm not arguing against the facilitator or the particular person or the process, but say that this is rushed, I think is meeting I thought was pretty good. And the general meeting that I went to. So, saying that has been rushed and rammed through, I think are just, inflammatory words that I don't think apply. On a substantial amount of work. And so 6 to 9 months to revise a document that's already existing. I can appreciate that getting people on board, it takes more time than, it's going to take a significant amount of time, but that also means that those people get information outside of the meeting as well. So that's not just in the meeting as the first time they're seeing the information. They're getting homework as soon as they're appreciate. I just disagree with the use of those terms in terms of being rushed and like we're starting from scratch.
I'm not so much talking about, I mean, I guess we're talking about two different times. I was talking about 6 to 9 months of moving through a whole process to breaking ground without.
No, I think
that-
that the 50%, 90% is
like those, yeah.
That seems a little tight.
So, but it sounds like what you're saying is that thinking about like the RFQ piece, so there's the time that it might take. So maybe I guess maybe one of the pieces is like there's a time that is getting the group acclimated to being a group, right? And understanding the scope of what's possible in their work and like how to create an RFQ, and being able to like review what Carlisle Wortman put forward, ask some questions. Like that's probably going to be some things at the beginning too, where there might be, hey, like here's what we understand. Can you explain this to us, right? So there's some of that time that it will take. And then like the, getting in the mindset of futuring. And then there's the time where they might say, okay, now we understand. Here's how we might change the RFQ. Here's what we might suggest. as a committee. The committee will have some time to like talk about it. And that would probably be a couple of meetings, you know, because you might do something, like say some things, get some responses back from staff and others around like realistic, how realistic is it? How possible is it? What would this look like? What are some of the processes, right? So you probably need a couple, you know, to me, that's already like about, you know, 4 to 5 meetings. Um, but I wonder whether, you know, some of these are like, it's more about like when it gets done more than, you know, these specific things. So it makes me just think like, again, when we're talking about the timeline that we want to communicate to developers who might be interested, I almost feel like the timeline about the RFQ release is like separate from that. Like I think about after the RFQ release, and that process is more about the timeline for developers and why that should be maybe more clear. And I think before the RFQ gets released, the RFQ is not released and there's nothing for developers to bid on. So until that point, then I think, so anyway, so I just wonder whether we need to even be as strict, like we can have our goalposts like that we're trying to move toward in terms of like city time, but I wonder if it needs to even be that strict beforehand, and then we can be more clear about the timeline after.
By 2 months. So from June release to August release, does staff see an issue with this? Because you said that the winter time is really when the RFQ proposals come out. That's the season.
I don't have any problem with it. I mean, I think that we have a pretty solid list of benefits that we've gotten from the community already to go to a committee, but if we need more, we need more.
Inflammatory, but that's just, you know, you don't like the characterization, but the matter at hand is really just moving it by 2 months.
Water Street is developed, but I do want people to rush. I do want people to rush. And when I talk to my constituents, they say, how many meetings can we have on Water Street? And are we ever actually going to do anything? That's exactly what they say. So, you know, I'm all for due diligence, but I would like there to be a sense of urgency. I believe that I will die. In fact, I hope that's going to be a few years from now, not tomorrow.
Critical. Let's not.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, look, I mean, this is like, I've spent a lot of my time, as some of you know, in Ohio, and there's always discussion about rail. We're going to get rail in Ohio, like hell, right? I mean, they turned money back into the federal government when they gave it to them. So certain projects, and there should be a sense of urgency here. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
It's 10:59
say,
and
yeah.
it's right now, our meeting's done.
Technically, it's over.
Do we vote then?
Well,
Meeting's over.
I brought up the extension. Technically, it is, but because we have something on the floor right now.
I mean, it hasn't,
And then it's over. I mean, there's
you haven't got past 11 yet. Maybe we should go ahead and make some action.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Can we vote on the amendment, please? Is there more discussion? Resolution, because it's still on the table.
Oh, we still have this on the table.
Yeah, there was an amendment. That's not even the resolution. I mean, I feel like when you have something on the table, you can't make another.
You
motion,
can't
but-
add something new
Yeah.
until the matter at hand is.
Correct. No, I just want.
We postpone until, like, isn't there something where we can
I'll set it
postpone?
aside and then.
Set aside.
Get another motion.
I had a different resolution number. What's dead, it's dead. Well, the meeting's over.
Yeah, the meeting's over.
So we would just bring that, you could just say this is dead, and then we bring back the same thing under a different resolution.
And then everything else that's on here.
With the amendment.
Yeah, well, the
With
amendment.
with the amendment that passed. All right, that's what we're gonna do, because the meeting's over. The meeting's adjourned. I mean,
Oh, at the next meeting?
Yeah, it's gonna-
Right?